Look just like that. Karl does.
I'm looking it up.
Karl doesn't realize I went live.
Oh, we are live. Holy shit. God damn.
Gotcha, Karl.
Good job,
What's up?
Adam.
Just waiting to sneak that one in when you weren't paying attention, buddy.
Like flash, cold grinding, winds blowing tough. Chicago nights burn the grid on rough. Animation roars with the fire inside. Passion-filled strikes breaking through the tide. Bear down, rise up, feel the thunder rolling. Bears pride from the heart, no one's controlling. Claw your way through the roar of the crowd. Bear down, sports making Chicago proud.
Where'd you get an intro like that?
We're gonna have to update that thing to have a little more Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift and the stars of this team. We're gonna have to update it with
The
some of these
stars.
some of these beasts that we have on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
I know how much you love DeAndre Swift.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's my
You
favorite.
love him. You love him. You love him.
You've been a guy who bounces all the runs, always trying to hit it outside, versus you being willing to run between the tackles and finish some of those shorter runs.
How do I look at it?
When you hear that, I mean, we've talked about this before, and so I kind of know what you think about it, but as you hear it going through the offseason, the Bears got to get a running back, the Bears got to do this because Drake can't do that. How do you deal with those types of things?
What can I do?
What can I do, Karl? What can I do?
That's a fair question, and I ask that of Swift all the time. What can he do? He can't run through the tackles. He can
not
run
true.
for negative yards.
That's not true. You don't know his stats, clearly.
I mean,
Are you ignoring?
eye test.
Are you
baby.
ignoring the same thing that I mean? This entire team went through hell last year, and you're gonna act like DeAndre Swift wasn't affected by that.
Well, let's just contrast that with when he had a good offensive line with the Eagles.
Okay.
Did that Eagles team win a Super Bowl with him? I mean,
So winning a Super Bowl is the staple of a running back being good.
no, but coincidentally, when that running back leaves, they upgraded the position, and then they win the Super Bowl.
So you want us to have Saquon Barkley or bust? Like it's either the best
No,
running back in the
I'm
league
just saying,
or
I
no
think that
running
the
back.
Bears needed an upgrade.
Nobody's claiming that DeAndre Swift is the top running back in the league. But if you're thinking that he's not,
He's
one of
RB1.
one of the highest rated running backs coming out of college for that draft class, that he has a huge upside potential, that he's electric, that he's dynamic, that he makes big plays. I mean, buddy, you gotta take the training wheels off and go back to what this team went through hell last year. Like it did. Like we went through Shane Waldron, Matt Eberflus, even what's his name?
Thomas Brown.
Thomas Brown. Good job. Thomas Brown. I mean, that wasn't doing Caleb any favors. I mean, Caleb last year was told, don't turn the ball over. That's what he was told. And now here we stand a year later and he didn't turn the ball over, but did they do him any favors? No. DeAndre Swift, the year before at Philly, ran 63% wide zone running. With the Bears, what'd they do? Over 50%. Nobody runs 50% between the tackles. And they had DeAndre Swift doing that when you have Roschon Johnson and Travis Homer and other guys that can get you 2 or 3 yards up the middle. It was just stupid. It was stupid, Karl. This is going to be different. And I want you to speak your mind, buddy, because I know you're kind of holding back a little bit here. Before the draft, I think you and I were perfectly aligned. I think I 90% of stuff, I would say we were on the same page. Now, after the draft, I don't think we see this team the same way.
I mean, we talked about what we feel like the Bears need to upgrade at, and for the general consensus, they did. I mean, it's hard when I look back at it where you choose to draft a tight end, which I was never in favor of. Ironically, I was in favor of drafting Loveland instead of Warren, if that's what it came down to.
Right.
Still kind of surprised they did it.
Me too.
However removed we are from that draft, right? Like I'm still
that
shocked.
Clearly showed that it was the entire focus of this year is we're going to put up 30 points and we're going to be the number one offense in the league, and the defense just needs to keep up. Because there was, I mean, before the draft, sorry, and I don't mean to cut you off, Karl, but before the draft, everyone was mocking defensive end, defensive tackle, 2 out of the first 3 picks. Like, that's just, and some people were drafting offensive tackle. Not many were taking tight end first until the rumor about Tyler Warren came around, and people were saying Tyler Warren's name a lot. Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, the consensus was 2 out of those first 3 picks were going to be defensive. Right? But then you see an offensive coach come in, and he put a staple on his team.
Definitely. No, I mean, you can't fault them, right? Like, we were definitely in agreement that with a draft class as good as it was regarding the tight end position, you had to draft tight end 2. At 10th overall, I never liked it. Now we're talking about, I don't think in 2025 Loveland will be tight end 1. I think it would be silly to rely on that, especially on a guy who's not going to be practicing because of that shoulder injury, at least full tilt practicing, right? So it's going to be a slow ramp up, but at the same breath, if that's what you need to do, you've got your offensive head coach who needs the tools. It is what it is. Again, I just would have preferred one of the Michigan Big 3. Obviously, they only had 2 remaining at that point at pick 10. They passed on Kenneth Grant for a tight end. That still doesn't sit well with me.
Have you seen how big the buzz is in Miami about Kenneth Grant? How quick
we're not allowed to talk about that, Adam. No, you can't talk about that, no.
Oh, my goodness, man. I realize it's OTAs and it's mini camp, and the same thing for the Bears. It's OTAs and mini camp. We can only this is part of why I've scaled back a little bit. There's only so much to really glean off of right now. But Kenneth Grant in Miami is looking like he should have been a top 3 pick, like ahead of Mason Graham. Like, he looks like he is it. We both preached this. We both wanted Kenny Graham. We were pushing harder than anybody on Twitter, on here, and he's quick. And for his size, dude, he used to be 360, then 340. I think what did he weigh in at the time? I don't remember. 330.
I can't remember.
It was. I mean, he's Vita Vea. He's a big, quick moving, and he's showing it. Like, I get it's drills, I get it's OTAs, I get it's just camp. He looks like the real freaking deal. But this is we took the genius mind, and I remember you more than anybody, Karl, saying we should trade for Sean McVay, we should trade for Kevin O'Connell. We got that. So we can only complain so much, right? Because we got Ben Johnson, who is considered unanimously as the greatest mind that wasn't a head coach to become a head coach since Sean McVay, since Kevin O'Connell. I mean, people are really, really high on him for a reason. So that's what we took. We took the offensive-minded head coach. We're going to get the offensive team, and that's what they decided to do. So
yeah, and trading for a guy like that would cost so darn much it wouldn't even be funny, right? It would have costed pick 10, potentially another first, just asinine assets, right? Like, it wasn't the right move. It's what I wanted, but
thank goodness Ben Johnson's from here. Grew up going to Cubs games. Thank goodness he wanted to come here. We didn't have to do that. We didn't have to go on the trade rampage for a head coach. We got him. Now hopefully that fits in. Obviously today, guys, sorry to ignore the chat here just for a second. We got lots of people streaming in Skeletor. Christian Grant, Squeegee, Illini, McGee. I think you changed your name. You used to be something else with that logo. Let's see. Dylan, Scottish Bear. Let's see. Daniel Jeffries.
Scottish Bear, hope you're doing well, buddy.
So Karl and I are just going to get back to a little free talk. We're going to talk about the draft, where this team is now. We're going to head into the dead period here after next week. Next week, we've got, let's see if I can pull this up real quick. Image file. Boom. I didn't have everything prepared today. Guys, I apologize, but we're going to try to bring a good show to you. Let's see right here. I got all my stuff. So, boom. Bring it up. Come on, move faster. All right, so there's the schedule. Obviously, we're midway down there. Let's see if I can point to where. Mandatory camp right there. Now we're going to OTAs next week, and then between here and here is the dead period. So June 9th through 11th, which is 2 days from now, to the 11th will be the last session of OTAs. It sounds like some guys are excused from that, from Ben Johnson talking last week. And then mid-July is when they come back. We don't know yet. Sometimes rookies come back a couple days before the vets. That's usually the way it is. The mid-July, sometime in there, usually about a month before the first preseason game is what it is, and then they have a month to ramp up for the preseason. So we'll see what day that ends up being. They haven't announced, but shortly after that, the entire team usually reports. And then August 10th, you got the Dolphins. I think it's interesting. We got 3 primetime games in a row. We got the Bills for preseason week 2 at night. We got the Chiefs for preseason week 3 at night. And we got the Vikings to start the season off Monday Night Football. So that's kind of fun.
That Hard Knocks footage through the Bills, having them come back to Hallis Hall for the second straight offseason, it's going to be a little last nugget from that series. So I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, these are 3 fun teams to compete against in the preseason, too. I realize it's the preseason, and you're going to get your, guys 54 through 91 on the roster getting a lot of time. But I like that.
We'll get a first-hand experience, now that we're talking about it, a first-hand look at how good Kenneth Grant is. I don't think he'll be playing too much. Maybe he will. I don't know, but
I think they'll play him a lot. I think they're going to let their rookie get out there and get his feet wet. He's going to be a starter for him, so.
I hope so. And I would like to see him against our much improved offensive line. See, chicken or the egg, which one is the truth.
Storyline of this offseason for the Bears, right? Is there anything better? I mean, Ben Johnson, but then the offensive line. That's really what we did. We I think you posted something today on Twitter about the PFF had Drew Dalman preseason ranked number 5.
Your good old buddies, PFF, they are really squeezing that lemon on the Bears' offensive line rankings, right? We got arguably the best guard in football. We got a top 5 center in the NFL. We got a top 10 tackle duo in the NFL. Maybe it's not what we think it is, right? We can get into that whenever you want. I think
we'll go position. We're gonna bring out the actual pictures of these guys and we'll go through them, but. Yeah, go ahead.
Just going to say, there's a certain tackle that we drafted in a certain second round that unfortunately is not signed that, in my opinion, is really trending towards starting week 1.
You think so? Let's pull that one up now. We'll just pull these. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by trending. Maybe, are you saying because Braxton Jones is injured?
Well, between that and, okay, we drafted this offensive lineman in the second round. It started with, okay, he's going to be the backup right tackle. Then it became, are we going to move Darnell Wright? Ben Johnson squashed that. Now we're talking about this guy is doing every single possible thing that he can on and off the fields to get onto the fields to start and contribute for a football team. And I don't know, man, the way that they're talking about Ozzie Trapillo, whether it's rookie mini camp, OTAs, whatever it is, he's acing the test. So
I agree with you, but there's a huge advantage the Bears have right now, and Ben Johnson constantly talks high of Braxton Jones, and I don't think it's just lip service. Huge advantage is every single rookie lineman comes into the league and struggles. They will struggle. Having someone in front of him to give him a chance. Even Joe Thuney, you look at his Hall of Fame career, year 3 on, literally the best in the entire league. And I wish I could pull up PFF to show you guys because PFF is on the fritz right now. How much you love PFF. They're, let's see if they're back up. Let's pull this up. And it's not like Joe Thuney was terrible as a rookie. He wasn't Joe Thuney yet. And he struggled. And it's not back up yet. But if you go look at his stats, year 1, year 2, it took him a couple years to break into the league.
Sure.
Braxton Jones has broken into the league. He's got the respect of this coaching staff. They do like him. Does he need to improve? Yeah, he does every year, though. And that's what I like about certain players. He's number 14 left tackle last year, so he's barely above average. He's got to work on his base. Hopefully he hits the weight room once he gets better. But again, there's the downfall of him being out this offseason, so I understand it. But having Ozzie Trapillo, everyone gets mad at me for saying Trapillo. Like, I get corrected so much.
Is it quite literally Trapillo?
That's what I'm being told. Like, when I say things wrong, like I have
when there's 2
L's
L's
come out to me.
It makes it seem like that would be L, like the L sound, right? But with 1 L, it makes it sound like it's almost silent. So I just don't know.
Yeah, but and we can't rely on Ben or on Ryan Poles to give us the correct pronunciations because he called Za Frazier in the press conference.
Clearly Zay, and I made that mistake recently on Bears Country Podcast. So
because because Ryan Poles on the introductory podcast, if you go back and look at the introductory press conference, he calls him Za, and so he screwed me up for weeks, and I couldn't get over that one for a long time. So it's just nice to have Ozzie not have to. I didn't print it off. I have to. In fact, I'll screenshot it. Right, that's what I'll do. I'm not going to show from who. But I had a laugh at this one, and I told him I was going to share it on here. This is hold on one second. This is actually hilarious.
Now, we did hear Ben Johnson's direct answer to what he values in the left tackle position, right? I'm sure you've heard this, Adam, but for anyone who hasn't, Ben Johnson said that first and foremost, he's primarily worried about his tackles. I don't know if it was just left tackle or not. He wants them to focus on the pass protection aspect. So, Braxton Jones, I've been told, and from what the eye test suggests, not only is his strength run blocking versus pass protection, but it's getting out in space and run blocking, right? That's Braxton Jones' strength.
But you still have a rookie. You don't know what Ozzy Trapillo is. There's a reason they're giving Karan so many snaps as well. So this is someone sent me. I'm not going to say who. I just thought it was hilarious. They sent me this over Twitter Messenger today. What's up, Adam? I had a quick question on Darnell Wright. What are your thoughts about moving him to tight end, then moving Ozzy Trapillo to right tackle and leaving Braxton at left tackle? Darnell would still be able to block on run plays and some pass plays, but he really showed off his hands the other day in practice. I think in preseason we should test him at tight end and see how he does.
Do a chat poll. How many milligrams does it take to get to this state of mind?
I love this fan base and what we create, though, because I'm sure everyone's seen the video, right? Here, I'll pull up the video file of that play. I'll do the one from Pat the designer. I got it ready here. Hold on. Let's see. Where is it? Clay Harbors is a little cleaner. I'm going to pull up Clay Harbors. Oh! So that's what he's referencing right there is this spectacular catch by Darnell Wright, which I already shared on my channel. So.
Goodness.
Now,
so I
cast out some bait, as I always do on Twitter. Just asking the questions, right? Because when I want people to start asking questions, I'm the villain, right? I said last year, our offensive coordinator was asking offensive linemen to score touchdowns, and that was the devil's work, right? We had to fire him in season. First time the Bears ever fired a coordinator in season, I believe, or not in a long time, whatever the case is, right? Now Ben Johnson's doing it. Now it's sexy. Just saying.
Well, Ben Johnson knows what he's doing.
Also,
I'm going to point out.
My view on that, Adam, is just that this is not the primary focus, right? This is OTAs. It's not even truly training camp. I think it's a little bit of conditioning more than anything.
Those who don't know, that was actually before practice started. They were having fun. Like the coaches were doing it, but it was literally right after stretching before they got started. So this was not a part of practice. Do I have any doubt that Ben Johnson will use Darnell Wright as a receiving option? Sure he can. I don't think it's the focus right now. I think you're spot on, Karl. So
Ozzy could be the cute, sixth offensive lineman tight end skipper, like you just said, right? Ozzy has a tight end background. So if anything, that's the tall guy that could be the sleigh to the Santa sleigh, whatever the case is.
He's actually a lot like Dan Skipper. That size.
Yeah.
Man, did you see the picture of him as a massive mountain of a human being? Ozzy Trapillo, that picture of him?
Ozzy's huge. Yeah, he's very tall.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Those who haven't seen Game of Thrones, the mountain, that's what that reference is. I mean, he's just big. He's just a big boy. I think we got a steal in Ozzy. All right, I got to hit this comment. This is from Squeegee. Braxton Jones left with an ankle injury and still had trouble with his ankle after year 3. I don't see him coming back. Not much chance that he improved, and Ben Johnson was the best pass protector. So, Squeegee, I'm not picking on you. Anytime I bring out a comment, I'm not picking on you, but I don't think a lot of people realize this. I brought it up extensively on Twitter. The 3 games, 3.5, the game he got injured in 2, the 3.5 games before Braxton Jones got injured, he was the number 1 left tackle in the entire league in those 3 games. He allowed the least amount of pressures, 1 pressure per every 54 snaps, and he was on top of his game. So year 3, I absolutely believe he was in constant improvement. So people say he didn't improve. I don't see that. He was coming into his prime right when the injury happened. It was the worst time for him to have his injury.
You said I think last 3 games before the injury, Adam?
Yep, 3.5. Yeah, the 3 games, 3.25, whatever.
I can't remember what game he got injured. I want to see what games those were. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Gosh, I wish PFF wasn't being a little poopy doop.
A little stinky.
Hold on, I'm going to try it again. Now it's making me sign in. What? I don't even remember my passwords, people. How am I supposed to sign in without noise?
You sound like my users at work, Adam. Now, I can't see on the ESPN app. I got to use... Okay. Anyway.
So, yeah, he was having the best little stretch of his career. I want to pull it up, too. I can't with PFF being unable to retrieve user with token from authorization services. Screw you,
Oh,
PFF.
token theft. I love token theft, Adam. I say that jokingly.
Do you think someone stole my credentials?
No, I doubt it. It wasn't the Vikings, was it?
Hold on. I'm trying to pull it up. Yeah, it wasn't the Viking games where he got hurt. Braxton Jones.
Against the Lions.
Oh. Can you pull up his... Man, this is where you do need PFF, Karl.
Was it in Week 16 or was it... No, it was definitely Week 16 because the first game against Detroit was in...
Thanksgiving.
The D, yeah. So you're suggesting that the first game against the Lions, the 49ers, and the Vikings is when he started to play really well.
Yeah, he played phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I mean,
Best. He was number one in the league
got-
over that stretch.
We got raffle stomped by the 49ers. So regardless of if he had a good game or not, it's really hard to evaluate that. So that's kind of where I take the PFF and throw it out the window, right? Like, he probably had a good game, but at the same breath, it's like he wasn't able to, like, prevent that pass rush from that entire side, right? It's hard to gauge, so I don't know.
This is where the fun's going to come in right here, Karl. Let's talk about our quarterback. We're going to get right in the meat and potatoes of this.
I mean, you saw my roster prediction on Thursday.
Let's talk about Caleb Williams. Let's talk about Caleb. We heard one real, genuine comment from Ben Johnson this offseason saying that Caleb had to get rid of the ball. I mean, he just flat out said it. He just got to get rid of the ball. I love Caleb. There's going to be people are going to take these comments and take Adam to be a hater is what's going to happen. Let's have some real talk here about Caleb year one, though. He went through Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown, Matt Eberflus, and the hell that we went through. Didn't have people watching film with him. Whatever the rumor, whatever you want to say on that. Prior coaching staff couldn't even see that we needed Case Keenum. I don't know if you remember when they were saying we're going to bring in a vet, and I predicted on Twitter that it would be Case Keenum. Like, I predicted that to a T. It got hundreds of thousands of views because of that. Perfect fit. And the prior coaching staff couldn't see that, Tyson Bagent and Austin Reed and Caleb Williams and on a rookie contract isn't the best situation to help him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had Case Keenum here.
3 quarterbacks last year, 1 season of NFL experience.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the guy that we let go was named Brett Rippon, right? He found his way to the Minnesota Vikings. When I was doing the roster projections last year, I was like, yeah, Brett Rippon has to be a shoo-in because you need that veteran presence.
And I even said
for them to not have that, like, that's crazy.
I don't think we were doing our video collabs yet, but I even said on my roster prediction video, I said, you keep Brett Rippon for the pure reason alone of watching film with your rookie quarterback.
Yep.
I said that on my video.
Yep.
And it's like Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron couldn't with their, I'm not saying I'm smarter than them. Obviously, they've gotten where they are for a reason. But if we as fans could see that out here and then you hear these things come out later, that he didn't have anybody watching film. They didn't have, here's the game film. Go watch and see what you did. And, maybe part of it's on him that he needs to ask more and get more up in their face. And maybe there was a headbutting match. I don't know. I don't know all the inner workings of that. But they didn't put him in a spot to succeed. Plain and simple, they didn't do everything they could. And now you got Ben Johnson coming in, and it seems like he's doing everything he can to make him succeed. And it makes me excited because last year I predicted he'd have over 5,000 yards. And
just to tack on to what you were saying with all the struggles he had, right? Talk about what that equated to. Well, first, too, you're missing the fact that Caleb Williams never played behind the true starting 5 that Ryan Poles envisioned. Not even one game, I don't feel like they had that starting 5, the best 5 on their 2024 roster, right?
Okay.
So bad offensive line play definitely contributed into that, right? And what did that equate to? That equated to the most amount of total yards from a Bears quarterback in franchise history, to my understanding, right? Combine the passing yards with his rushing yards.
Okay.
And you have the added extra game, week 18, the 17th game, right? So there's a little bit of a head start for Caleb Williams in that department. But all that to say, all that turmoil he had to deal with, he still had a historically good Bears season.
Yeah, he
And
did.
For the media to come out and just act the way that they do towards him, I get that Jaden Daniels took his team to the playoffs and had a good year. I think it's very plausible that
games in the
Jaden
playoffs.
Daniels has peaked in his career, and that
Possibly.
Caleb Williams 2024 could be the worst season of his entire career.
Here's why nobody should sleep on the Bears this year. Nobody should sleep on the Bears. Here's the reason. Caleb Williams was the number 1 sacked quarterback in the league last year, right? His line was only the 10th worst at allowing pressure. So Caleb allowed more pressure to sack ratio than anybody in the last almost decade. It was like 29%. Caleb wasn't coached. Caleb had Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron, and Thomas Brown. He, in those same situations, think about it. Ben Johnson took a former number 1 overall pick, Jared Goff, and look what he did with Jared Goff. I don't think anybody would believe Jared Goff is the quarterback he is unless he had Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is already being tough on Caleb, and there's every report that Caleb is first one in the building. He's studying his brains out. He wants to be the reason for success. He doesn't just want to coast. It's I think Bears fans have PTSD and they're scared because we saw it with Mitch Trubisky. We saw it with Justin Fields. We saw quarterbacks get broken. We saw them get ruined. And they're afraid the same thing's happening with Caleb Williams.
I mean, yeah, simply put, that's probably spot on. I mean, Caleb Williams is a quarterback I feel like the Bears franchise has never seen as far as the level of talent. To circle back to what you said about Jared Goff, I still think very highly of Sean McVay. Sean McVay was not wrong about Jared Goff. The problem is that the Rams were not able to overinvest quickly enough in their offensive line to allow the statue, Jared Goff, to not have to move. When that offensive line was bad for the Rams, that's when Jared Goff was at his worst. Then he went to a team that for a little while there had arguably the best offensive line in football, the Detroit Lions. Those days are gone, by the way, with another early retirement from the Lions. So we'll see how good Jared Goff is without Ben Johnson, without an all-pro center, and probably either 1 or 2, rookies on the interior for that line. Let's see how good that Jared Goff really is. I'm skeptical.
Here's the bigger thing with Caleb. What does Caleb have to do to fix it? Caleb's got clear things he has to do. So what I just told you, he took the most sacks, but he only had the 10th most pressures. So the offensive line got blamed a lot, but he created that gap between being the 10th most pressure and being the most sacked. 29% of pressures turned into sacks. That's on Caleb. 100% on Caleb.
Yeah.
Fall back a little bit and realize Jaden Daniels didn't have Shane Waldron, Matt Eberflus, Thomas Brown. Now Caleb gets Ben Johnson. That's where I'm going with this. The talent is there. These evaluators, everyone's saying Caleb was number 1. The arm talent, saying his intelligence. They weren't making that stuff up. Like, it wasn't, we got it wrong and he's Jamarcus Russell, where he's just a lazy turd, eats potato chips on his couch all day and he's getting fat 400 pounds. Like, that's not Caleb. Caleb's in the weight room every day. Caleb's with this team every day. He's studying every day. He's doing the work. He didn't have the situation. Now he's got to get rid of the ball. Ben Johnson already addressed that. Yeah, I told him he's got to get rid of the ball. On that play, do you remember that press conference? It was this week. They were saying what happened there with Caleb on that. Was that just not the first read? Was it? No, he got to get rid of the ball. He's got to get rid of the ball. He's got to get the ball out of his hands. They're hitting these things head on. Ben Johnson, every report, every player, he does not mince words. He does not go back on what he said. He has demands and expectations. He's hard-nosed. Like, he is going to take Caleb and either bring what Caleb has out of him, or we're going to find out he's wrong. And I tend to think with Ben Johnson, there's one option. Like, he's going to bring the best out of Caleb. You're going to get to see the very best out of Caleb, which is why I'm so high again. I've drank the Kool-Aid again, buddy. I'm high on this team again. I don't see any reason why this team, you've got generational quarterback, generational head coach. You've got a top 5, top 10, whatever you want to call them, offensive line. You've got all the weapons you can dream of. Like, every analyst out there says there's so many mouths to feed. The Bears aren't going to, there's too many offensive weapons. There's no reason we shouldn't flip places with the Lions and be the number one offense in the league, in my opinion. I don't know how we couldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, that's extremely bold, no doubt about it. Would I be surprised if it happens specifically from the passing attack and the quarterback? No, not at all. But again, my issues with, if we're talking, because we titled our episodes Win Now mode, yes and no. I know that you've done a great job of delving into the financials. Clearly, the cap is tapped. They're financially ready to win now. Ryan Poles is absolutely ready to win now. If the Bears miss the playoffs the next 2 seasons, I don't know how you can retain Ryan Poles. Not predicting that the second season. But in this first season, with a rookie head coach and a new offensive scheme with young players, I think it's going to result in a slow start to the season. And again, talk about drafting a tight end, a backup tight end, if you will, instead of a defensive lineman. I'm very skeptical of this Bears run defense.
So this is, let's see here. You bring this up, so we got to bring it up. Let's close this file. No, I want to view those files later. Thank you. I'm working on them. All right, so here is the salary cap. And I actually kind of want to play a little game with you, Karl. Here. How much time do you got, Karl? We should have talked about this off air.
Limitless.
Limitless time.
I'm Mr. Unlimited, if you will, Adam.
We're going to bore the crap out of you guys today, okay? All right, guys. So this is the salary cap. I don't care what somebody else is showing on PFF. We don't even, or Spotrac. We don't have the second rounder signed. They're not accounting for which ones are going to stay on the roster. So I'm going to move or copy. I'm going to create a copy. We're going to call this one Karl's hypothetical. Karl had no clue we were doing this. So here we go, Karl. This is what we're going to do. Karl, I want you to go through and tell me who's going to be on the 53-man roster. And we're going to show, according to Karl, what the salary cap looks like, and next year, what pieces we're missing from this roster. Go ahead.
Okay.
Quarterbacks first.
From my understanding, when you look at the numbers associated with the positions over the past 3 years for the Bears, Lions, and Saints, I truly believe that the Bears in 2025 will only carry 2 quarterbacks onto their 53-man roster.
So I'm going to do my roster prediction video later. I don't think that has anything to do with it, but this is yours. So this is Karl's, and there's reasons why they did things there, and they're going to do things here, but this is Karl. So you're saying they're only keeping Caleb and Tyson Bagent.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I'm hopeful that the Bears could get some sort of trade value from Tyson Bagent. I just doubt it. But again, I think it's clearly going to be Caleb Williams and Case Keenum. Whether there's a third, I don't know.
I don't agree. I think we're keeping 3, but this is yours. So we're going with Karl. So here on the 53-man count, he's got 2. Go to the running backs. Who do you think we're keeping?
You've got him in the correct order. Well, flip Monungai, but the top 4 there, I think, make the roster. Ian Wheeler and Hankins are left out.
Okay, we're going to delete them. This is Karl's. So we're going to make this 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, perfect. We're not worried about the 90-man. We're going to hide that. We're only doing 53-man roster. You got 6 on your roster.
Terribly bold take from myself. I would not be surprised, and at this point, I'm expecting 5 wide receivers on the 53-man roster.
Okay,
Moore, Adunze, Burden, Zacchaeus, and Duvernay, I think, is spot on. I think Tyler Scott's time is up, and then everyone else. I would look out for the UDFA out of Texas A&M, which I believe is Jade Walker. I'm liking him more and more, but again, 53-man roster, I think it's just the top 5 there.
All right, so I need to look real quick at Tyler Scott's dead cap if we cut him. So hold on.
I could try and help with that via Spotrac too.
That'd be great if you want to pull that up while I'm. This one is 331,726 this year. There'll be a 1.1 million total, but it's 331,726. So we're gonna move Tyler Scott to dead cap range.
Did you know that the Minnesota Vikings have a defensive end named Tyler Scott? I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, it appears that the dead cap is $331,726.
Okay, 331,726.
Correct.
All right, we're gonna delete the rest of this. This is gonna be my dead cap zone. Sorry if this is boring to some people. You didn't have any clue what you're getting into with this, but it's gonna be a fun little exercise.
Same here.
All right. The rest of these, you're cutting all of them, right?
Yeah.
All of them gone. Okay, delete. It's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11 on the roster. Okay.
And spoiler alert, we're in lockstep for the tight ends, right? Top 3 in that order, perfect. The other 3 are gone.
12, 13, 14. There might be some straggler dead cap here, guys. We'll have to look at the contracts to be more specific, but we're going to go loosely here. Go ahead.
So, offensive line, I've heard Ben Johnson say that he wants to go heavy, and something tells me that the Bears will go heavy, right? Because Braxton Jones, we don't know what he's at as far as his health. So if we were to keep 10 offensive linemen, it might be bad. I don't know, man. What do I have in
I'm
the
going to bring up the
prediction that I
specific
made?
quote. I brought this up on your channel when you guys had your show when I chimed in. His specific quote from Ben Johnson was, it's not like years past where we use 5. It's 6, 7, 8, 9. He did not ever say 10. He said 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that contribute at each year. Just to be specific with you.
Okay. I could see us going down to 9 then. So I think that you need some sort of experience as a backup. And I don't know if Ryan Bates is the guy that they want. It's the guy that I wanted last year. But at this point, they may have ran its course with Ryan Bates and the Bears.
All right,
so
let's start with the bottom up. Theo Benedict,
no,
gone. Jordan McFadden,
no,
Chris Glazer,
no,
Ricky Stromberg,
no,
Joshua Miles,
no.
Doug Kramer.
See, I like Doug Kramer for what he is, but if we're talking getting rid of the 10th offensive lineman, do me a solid. Get rid of Ryan Bates.
Okay, so we got to take $5 million or $500,000 of dead cap for him. So hold on. Let's see, Ryan Bates. We're going to cut him out. We're going to bring him down here to the dead cap. We're going to put him right there. Insert 500,000. Oops. Okay, go ahead.
Take us back up. How many offensive linemen are we looking at right now?
So you've got Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney. I assume all of them are making it. Ozzie Trapeel. You think Luke Newman's making it?
Yes. Yeah.
Quran.
I don't think that. Yes, I do. Now
Bill
this
Murray.
is where it gets interesting. I think that they would. I don't know, man. I like Bill Murray more than Doug Kramer. Let's cut Doug Kramer because it was made aware to myself that he did not sign like a 2 or 3 year extension like I thought the Bears had. It was just like a 1 year thing to get him back in the building. So
It was a restricted free agency one.
Yeah.
League minimum, no guarantees.
yeah, so I'm okay with getting rid of him. But I do like that group of 9 right there then.
I appreciate when you love players. I fall in love with players on this roster too. You just have to remember I brought this up on your show the other night. Doug Kramer is a guy that we cut from our practice squad and then re-signed to our practice squad later on. He wasn't even a top 53. He wasn't a
In
top
2024?
69. Yes, we cut him last year from the practice squad and then picked him back up when we needed him again on the practice squad. Then eventually he got, some time when everyone was injured. So there's your offensive lineman. I'm going to have to bring this down for Bill Murray. There's all your offensive linemen. Okay. That needs to come down too. Bill Murray will be restricted again next year. All right, so there's your defensive line. Who we keeping here?
So in my initial projections here, I had 10.
Okay,
So
that's not unheard of.
Shamar Turner, good. Billings, good. Chris Williams, I do have on the roster, yes.
Okay.
I know you hate that.
No,
Austin Booker, of
this is
course.
yours.
Let's get rid of Zach Pickens.
Okay, look up his dead cap for me real quick.
The Zach Pickens dead cap.
Yeah, it's like 200 a year or something for the next 2 years, but just look at this year's. And I'm not ignoring the chat. I have to go back and forth between StreamYard and my Excel document, so I apologize.
The dead cap in 2025 for Zach Pickens is $595, $924.
I think because it's past June 1st, it's split between 2 years. Look and see if that's 2 years. I think it's split. I think that's split in half each. One for each this year and next year.
Post June 1st cut, 2025 is $297, $962, and that
Okay.
would be 2025 and 2026.
Yeah, so same thing next year too. Okay, beautiful. All right. Back up here. There we go. So you've got rid of Zach Pickens. Austin Booker, Dominic Robinson. I don't know how you can get rid of him with the endorsement he just got.
I mean, yeah, I've got Dominic Robinson as defensive end 4, which is a whole different conversation and related to my record projection. But anyway, let's get rid of Jeremy Robinson and Xavier Carlton.
Okay.
And then Daniel Hardy is making the roster in my projection, and Chroma and Ford are out.
Okay. Put this down.
So this is something that I think I just have straight up wrong in my current projection. I had the Bears keeping 6 linebackers, but I think Ruben Hippolyte has propelled himself into a very good position.
Yeah, but teams typically keep 6 linebackers specifically for your 2 most valuable positions on special teams are your tight ends and your linebackers. Tight ends with their big size in their hands, linebackers with their hitting ability.
Maybe I should stand pat then, because if the Bears are going to be light-ish at tight end with only 3, maybe that would indicate that they should have those offset then, right? So.
Well, I should say defensive ends too. Sorry, defensive ends are very valuable on special teams too.
That's why I'm very confident in Daniel Hardy, right? I saw the BS related to Hardy playing Sam linebacker. Hate it. I think that's rubbish. But where am I going to make room then? I'm talking out loud to myself. If I am only keeping 9 offensive linemen, I've got to add another. Let's call it a jag, just another guy. So
well, there's gonna be a couple just another guys. As you guys know, we only dress 47 on game days, so there's gonna be about 6 that are Tyler Scotts, that are Noah Sewells, that are just another guys.
For this discussion, I've got to get to 53 players, right? Let's keep it slim and trim, and maybe I will have to go back. I'll say to the top of the spreadsheet, but let's keep 6 linebackers. So of course, Edmonds, Edwards, our draft pick Hippolyte, Ogbongbemiga, Bozeman, and I guess Sewell. As I'm talking to you now, as I was talking to you, I want to get rid of Noah Sewell, but let's keep the 6 for now and see if we have to go back.
Yours is going to differ from my my final roster, but that's okay. Yeah. This is yours. Oops, let's not do that. Bring that down. Come on, baby. Do what you want. All right, secondary. Here's a lot of cuts because we got a lot of secondary in here.
Yeah, I've got 12 players, right? So Johnson, Byard, Brisker, Owens, Hicks, Frazier, King, Josh Blackwell, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, all look good.
Okay.
I think we're in lockstep. That's 12 players, right? Essentially 2 for each position, starting outside backers, cornerbacks, that is.
That's
starting
10.
Safeties. It's only 10?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Yeah,
for 5
but typically
positions.
you have 4 safeties and 6 cornerbacks.
Yeah, so we're in lockstep here. Do I like the safety out of Oregon, Tysheem Johnson? I do, but to get back to 53, I don't think I'm adding him. So let's cut all those bunch of jags, if you will, Adam.
Yeah, a couple of these guys will make the practice squad, and we'll probably pluck a couple guys from other practice squads that we see and we like. So,
yeah.
All right, boom. And then I haven't been keeping track here on the side. Let's get going back. 15, 16, 23, right here. 24, 25.
Hold on, Adam. Can you just select? Yeah, you got it.
Boom.
Adam's a freak in the sheets, everyone.
So what? That's very off topic here. That's very off topic.
Incredible. The Excel sheets, Adam. Get your mind out of the gutter.
That kind of sheets. It was in the wrong place. All right. So
another discussion I kind of wanted to have with you regarding this kicker nonsense, but
yeah,
you've got it. We'll
get to each position. On. For now, you're just gonna tell us what your roster looks like.
You've got it spot on, right? So let's keep the top 3 and get rid of the little bro Jonathan Kim and Luke. No, if you want, flip them. I know you love this. We could talk about that. Flip Elkin and Scott Daly for me. That's fine.
Yeah, Scott Daly he's on his way out the door.
Sure.
Get rid of Kim though.
Yes, please, absolutely.
All right, you've got one more roster spot.
Right. So, much to the chagrin of some, but not to the chagrin of Mr. Shorty, let's go ahead and add that 3rd quarterback. Let's keep Tyson Bagent. That was probably, for me on my 53, he was the 54th player. So, I'm okay with it.
That's what's going to happen, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, let's hurry and check these cells real quick. Bring that down. Let's bring that one's good. Oh, that's not good at all.
Hey,
Copied
yo.
where I took a cut player. 21. Boom. I know this is boring. This is accountant type stuff. This is usually what we do off screen. Bob Killen wants me to check my numbers in the last column. We'll get there, buddy. All right. That looks good. That looks good. Looks good. Oh, we got to add in Luke Elkin. There's probably a little dead cap we need to add here, too, from some of those guys getting cut. So there's your 264 you have. There's the salary cap. Here's our dead cap prior. New additions to the dead cap. We're going to have to add that.
Looks like almost $1 million on the dot, but
Plus negative. This is going to drive you nuts because this is not the appropriate way to do it.
plus negative. A freak in the sheets. Skeletor loves it, Adam.
Boom. So there's your new dead cap. There's got to be more dead cap than this. I'm telling you, there's going to be more dead cap than this. I'm telling you right now.
But not in, yeah, I agree. But there's not enough dead cap to take us over.
No,
Wait a
we're
second.
still good for this year. This is what our new salary cap this year would be, which is right in range with what you want. And if we get through camp and we don't love one of our guys, then we can cut someone and sign someone that's going to be a low-level DeMarcus Walker type of guy. But look at next year, even with this. Here's your cap next year, 298. Here's your salary cap estimate, 307. So we're right buffering it. Think about the rookies next year. The rookie draft class is going to cost you about $12 to $13 million. You're already over the salary cap there, and you have 4 missing safeties, and you have a missing linebacker, and you have a missing defensive end, defensive tackles, defensive end, guard, tackle, tight end, wide receiver. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So with 36 players, your salary cap is already over the salary cap. That's what we're facing next year.
Interesting. Now, you're saying that 2020, it says 2025 salary cap on line 86, but the 307 there is appears to be adjusted.
307 is what they're anticipating. So it's estimated that's
Right.
what the salary cap's going
Right.
to be next year. This is all we can do is estimate. They don't announce
Right.
until next year.
Very, very interesting.
So
Okay.
you look at the difference here, though. This is what it is. How he's restructured all of these things. Kyler Gordon next year, bump up of $9 million. You've got T.J. Edwards going up $5 million. You've got Dio Dangbo going up $12 million.
Now-
Grady Jarrett going up $12 million.
Tremaine Edmonds is going to be gone.
Maybe.
I feel like DeAndre Swift is going to be gone.
Maybe. You don't know these things yet. These guys are under contract. All we're doing is taking the contracts we have now. Joe Tooney going up $13 million. Jonah Jackson going up $11 million. Let's see here. Those are the biggest ones.
That Jonah Jagoff one is definitely a cake in between the legs.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he turns out to be an all-pro guard. We don't know.
That's correct.
But that's what this team is built for. So the point of this right now, even having you be in control of it, you're creating your roster. Next year, every analyst out there is ignoring this. I guarantee you, nobody else has. Yeah, I am figuring this is the. So here's the cap this year. So I see the comment right here by Skeletor. Are you figuring the salary cap for next year? Yes, that's what we're going over right now. Is you look, this is all you can do is estimate. They don't have it announced yet. This is the salary cap this year. This is what it is. Now we had rollover cap. You see this number down here, this 11,662. That's after you take out the practice squad players. They're each making $250,000. Your dead cap additions, your new dead cap prior. That's all this is accounted. Here's our salary cap. We had our rollover from last year of $6,128,995. I know this is nerdy. I know it's geeky. It is what it is. You go into next year, you're going to have to sign a bunch of players. Say say we don't even sign anybody but league minimum. We take the rookies, which will be 10 of those guys. And then you need another, not 10 of those guys, sorry, it'll be 7 of those guys. Then you need another 10 league minimum contracts. That's another $10 million. That's $15 million. So $25 million on top of our current salary cap. Tremaine Edmonds, what's his dead cap next year? I don't remember.
It's low.
Yeah, it's like $2 million or something.
Sorry, don't want to fight the dead noise, but
You're good.
just trying to get that in here.
And then
Tremaine Edmonds, according to Spotrac, the dead cap in 2026 would be $2.4 million.
Yeah. And then the same with DeAndre Swift. I'll pull his up. DeAndre Swift's dead cap is $1.33 million. So you're saving $7 million and $15 million.
Yes.
And that might be you might be signing 10 league minimum guys and 10 rookies next year. I mean, but really,
What is our draft pool looking like next year, right? We have every single pick, all 7 picks, plus whatever we got from the Rams, correct?
no, we have all picks because we got rid of a 4th rounder and then got a new 4th rounder. So we have exactly 1 in each round.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Why are we missing our 4th?
We
Because
traded
of the
it
trade?
away. Yeah, we traded it for Joe Tooney.
Perfect, right. And then we got it back via the Rams trade. Got
Mhm.
it, okay. So 7 players, again, just kind of spitballing. I don't know if the Bears roster in 2025 is good enough to not sign all of our draft picks. Like, talent-wise, right? I know that you questioned the Luke Newman. I think he's a good
No.
enough player to
No,
be
no,
a
no.
backup.
I don't question Luke Moomin. I was just asking you your opinion. I actually think he's better than a 6th rounder.
Yeah.
So here's the problem, though. Are you rolling into next year with garbage safeties? Because if we're just signing league minimum guys and rookies, then you have the worst safety room in the entire league.
I see what you're saying, but I mean, look at that right now, right? It's 8 plus 4 is 12, and then the 2 backups. That doesn't even get to the 15 million that you'd get from saving by cutting Tremaine Edmonds.
And these are steals of contracts. Even if you don't think Kevin Byard is a steal of a contract with the way the salary
Absolutely.
cap's going up.
I'm not as bullish on. I'm not publicly as bullish as I am on Kevin Byard, right? Like, he was literally the kryptonite for the Chiefs while he was on the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Byard's a fantastic player.
Yeah, 2021 Kevin Byard, you couldn't beat him, like, period.
Yeah.
A little drop off, but last year he played phenomenal for us. I think he was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hits
I'm
hard,
very
great
interested to
coverage.
see a player like that in a new scheme. I don't know if it will benefit him more than what Eberflus had him running, but the player's good. That's a really good player.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to get to with you, Karl. We are in win now mode. Like, they built this roster, these contracts, not to have a year to develop, not to have a year to say, oh, these guys will need a year to gel. They'll need some time to do. They built this roster with a top 10 offensive line, with the weapons we have. They built it for win now. The Commanders did it last year. I don't know why we wouldn't think we would be on that same page. They went out and spent like the Bears did this year, last year, and they still had money to spend this year. They had a lot of turnover, and now they're doing the same thing. The Bears are not planning on not making the Super Bowl this year. Their sights are set on the Super Bowl. Can they do it? There's 32 other teams trying to fight for that same position. I mean, it's not like it's just, hey, let's just walk into the Super Bowl. It's just, hey, we built the roster. Let's have the offseason championship for 3 years in a row, and now we're going to walk into the Super Bowl. They got to win the games, and it's not an easy schedule. It's a freaking tough schedule.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. So that's my fear, is that can our second-year quarterback, who had not issues watching film, but, he wasn't brought up to speed as quick as you'd want him to, right? Hopefully that's all ironed out, whatever the case is. But what I'm saying is, can these young leaders for the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, not sure I want to call Loveland a leader yet. The defense is what it is. But, again, can they get up to speed fast enough? And is this run defense going to be good enough to have a positive record going into, the second half of the season? I don't know.
Yeah, those first 4 games are critical. And Ben Johnson nailed it on the head. And I said the same thing on Twitter when I saw that bye week 5, everybody was mad about it. But it's perfect for a young team with a new head coach and Caleb Williams having to relearn everything, start from scratch. I mean, Caleb has all the talent in the world. Now he's switching his foot to the other position. He's got to get the ball out quicker. He's got to stop creating sacks on his own. Caleb Williams had one of the worst pockets in the league, 10th worst in pressures, right? He also created the most pressures in the league for a quarterback. He escaped the pocket in clean pockets worse than Justin Fields did. Love Caleb Williams. Love Justin Fields. Just the way it is. He's got to stop doing it. Ben Johnson's the guy that can make him stop doing that. This first 4 stretch is pivotal. Week 1, J.J. McCarthy, first year as a rookie. Kevin O'Connell, same thing. He's had a year to learn. He wasn't playing like Caleb was, so he's going to be a little behind Caleb, but he was in the league, learning the playbook. He's not going through the rookie whirlwind that these guys are going through right now. They finish their season. They go to the combine. They go to all the pro days. They go to the draft. Now they're at OTAs, rookie minicamp. No break. Rookies, this is the only break they're getting right now. So J.J. McCarthy doesn't have that, but he's getting week 1 against the Bears on the road. Huge opportunity for the Bears. Week 2, Ben Johnson, revenge match against Detroit, in Detroit. Huge. Week 3, Matt Eberflus, revenge match at home. Raiders in Vegas. I mean, it's hard to go on the road anywhere, but it's the Raiders. I mean,
that week 4 game is going to be where the rubber meets the road for both of ourselves, right? Very, how do I say this? Very adamant. Adam was very adamant that Ashton Genty will be a flop.
No, I didn't say flop. I did not say flop.
Whatever the case is, you didn't like the guy.
He's
you
not
wouldn't have
gonna
been
be
happy with the Bears drafting him at 10th overall.
I would not have been happy.
But when he runs for 250 yards and scores 3 touchdowns and literally peaks in his career, right? 2024 Jane Daniels, peak of his career. Week 4 of 2025, the peak of Ashton Genty's career.
Nah.
I'm just saying, it's not because he's this iconic NFL back.
Our run defense?
Yes, that is my problem with the 2025 Bears.
I know you chipped in for a minute, but did you see my video on the run defense?
I think I watched the video yesterday.
Especially Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett wasn't brought here for his pressure. Grady Jarrett specifically fixes
I
our
think
run
that
defense.
is something that I initially projected, but then I was too scared to, full dive in, right? I do think that Billings is now the backup to Jarrett. I think Jarrett is going to have to be asked to play that one technique position and really put, again, rubber meets the road. Grady Jarrett, 2024 for the Falcons, very good against double teams statistically. That's what his job is going to be in 2025 for the Bears, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think Big Bill will be out on all run plays.
Absolutely not.
Man, I think a lot of people think I hate Big Bill. My premise was he's not a starter. Like he was never built to be. He's a great backup. He's good to rotate in. He got a lot of pressure last year. Andrew Billings, when I say Big Bill, Andrew Billings really stepped his game up, and he talked about that in his press conference. Now he wants to round out his game a little bit more. I think there's a lot of potential. He's just not a star. We've been, and we have the same problem this year now. We've been putting backup players in starter roles on our defensive line for years. I mean, ever since we got rid of Khalil Mack and even Hicks and even back to Pepper. I mean, dude, it's been a while since we had a great defensive line. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. And we're playing
the late 2000s, right? I mean, I still think that Ogunleye, Tommy Harris, whether it was Tank Johnson or someone else, and then Alex Brown, all 4 of those positions, at least 3 of the 4, right? Could be the Pro Bowl team, like top flight defensive line.
So even going back to the beginning, we got an offensive-minded head coach. We are planning on scoring 30 points a game and saying defense keep up. Last year, we were one of the worst defenses in the league, and we only allowed 23. But our run defense was terrible. The one thing the Bears did was they stopped in the red zone, which was great. It limited the pain, put us in position to come back and win some of those games, which we should have. I mean, we should have won 4 or 5 more of those. And, heartbreak. We don't need to revisit that right now. But what are we paying top-end defensive ends? What's Montez Sweat getting? $23 million a year? Is that what it is?
Rough estimate, $25 million, right? I'm pretty sure it was in the ballpark of a 4-year, $100 million extension when we obtained him. So it feels like $25 million a year, which it's another topic we could talk about. I mean,
what did the Browns pay? What's his name?
Miles Garrett.
Feels
like at least 35 a year, if not.
I thought it was
40.
30. I thought it was 30. 32
could
to
be 30.
35.
Oh, that low? I
No,
thought,
you're
I
prob-
thought it was
you're
closer
probably
to
right.
40.
You're probably right. Yeah.
I'll do a little SPO track.
So anyways, what I'm getting at with that, these top defensive ends are starting to get 30, 35, 40 million dollars. We just paid Dio Odengbo 16 million, right? Is that what it was? 3 years, 48 million?
Yeah, in comparison, that doesn't sound as much, but it's still a decent chunk of change.
Well, what I'm saying is we just paid a backup. We just paid a high-end backup to be our starter. We didn't change things on the defensive line. We took DeMarcus Walker and replaced him with Dio Odengbo, who is DeMarcus Walker 2.0, but a little upgraded. I mean, he's better than DeMarcus Walker, but he's better at the run game. DeMarcus Walker was one of our best stoppers, too, on fourth down, third down. DeMarcus Walker stopped players from running the ball. So we're playing, again, this is why we mocked taking defensive end. I mean, everybody from even JPJ, what's his name? Dang.
Boy.
Tennessee.
James Pierce
Jr. and Mike Green. Like, even those guys we projected taking in the early second round or late first round, and we didn't take a defensive end at all. So we're really banking this year on the offense scoring 30 points a game. That is what we're banking on.
I mean, I would much preferred to have had, let's call it, Kenneth Grant starting, Andrew Billings behind him.
Absolutely.
Grady Jarrett starting on the other side, Gervon Dexter behind him. Gervon Dexter, I'm sorry. So that's what I would have preferred. Shamar Turner, maybe that's the guy that we're sleeping on. Maybe he's the joker. Maybe that's the joker that's going to end up riding the ship, so to speak, for this interior defensive line.
But to me, it's the same thing as Austin Booker. We drafted him long term. I don't see Shamar Turner being your immediate date. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe we're sleeping on him this year, and he'll be an immediate impact guy.
When he is asked to play, the quarterback at the line is not going to say, "Oh, this Jag's in here. Let's audible to a run play and run at him." You know what I'm trying to say? That's the thought process. But if Shamar Turner, and you just said Austin Booker, that's a guy who I would love to have him really have his impact felt in a NASCAR package. Obvious passing situation. Okay, let's put him on the outside. Let's move Dio Odengbo inside. Let's get after the damn quarterback. If Austin Booker has a Mark Anderson type impact and is able to, in spot duty, obtain near double-digit sacks, maybe this defense flips on its head and is this top 10 unit. Surprisingly, a lot of people I'm hearing are saying they could. I don't think that way, not at least currently.
Yeah, some of you shared yesterday that I was using an old file. You're right. I've updated it. I'm sorry. I had some of the ones from rookie minicamp. I fixed it. Sorry about that. But today we've got it right. So here's your rookies, and you're saying there's a little more depth. I agree. I'm still worried.
I'm very worried about.
I gave my whole video on this yesterday, so I don't need to rehash this whole thing. But Karl, give me your thoughts here. What you're thinking, what you see when you look at this defensive line. And I do think Daniel Hardy will be more of a special teams player. I don't think he's going to see a ton of time. I think he's going to be, maybe outside linebacker role, maybe interchange at nickel.
This Daniel Hardy to Sam linebacker stuff is really frustrating.
I don't think that's what it's going to be, Karl. I think when they say dropping him into coverage, I think it's more of on nickel packages, taking some snaps away from Kyler Gordon, or before you say anything and pounce on that, Dennis Allen plays a lot of 5 defensive back, even 6 defensive back sets. It could be.
Trust me, I know.
On coming out on nickel packages, having even Tremaine Edmonds coming out of play and having Daniel Hardy and Kyler Gordon in on both sides, and Daniel Hardy dropping into coverage that way on a player. It's going to be interesting to see what Dennis Allen does, because Daniel Hardy does have a unique skill set. He's only 240 pounds.
I've seen Akeem Hicks drop into coverage, right?
Sure.
Like we can get really cute if you want to. I just think specifically what I'm saying, Daniel Hardy lining up where Jack Sanborn lined up last year. That is rubbish. That is just crap.
No, it won't be consistent. No, that won't be his primary
I don't
role.
think it will happen at all.
No.
So looking at the names you have, right? Flip, Jarrett, and Dexter. I think that's a little bit more in line as to what we will be seeing.
Sure, I can agree with that. This is original on when people were talking about Dexter not being played at his
Take
original position.
take the image of Zach Pickens, print it out, and light it on fire, and then pee on it to put it out. That player's awful. I hate Zach Pickens, and I'm sorry. It's not a personal thing. It's just
But you know
play
what,
for
Karl?
the team that I like.
I said
that
this
I love.
exact same thing 2 off seasons ago about Dominic Robinson. And Zach Pickens showed me enough flash and burst where Chris Williams, and I said this on my video yesterday, Chris Williams is a perennial defensive tackle 5. He's never going to be better than that. He doesn't show you flashes of brilliance. In fact, he's more of a liability than anything. But Zach Pickens is still he's coming into year 3. And he's shown enough flashes where he outplayed Chris Williams last year. I want to see him stay on the roster over Chris Williams. That's just my opinion. What are the Bears going to do?
Well, when you're talking about a pseudo second-round pick, right, the first pick of the 3rd round,
Yeah.
Zach Pickens should be where Grady Jarrett is.
Sure.
But
Some guys just take time to develop.
Maybe I'm just wrong about him, right? I mean, not to say that I love Dominique Robinson either, but again, just looking at what we have, that we're playing with the hand we're dealt. So, again, Zach Pickens, I want that experiment over with. If he proves me wrong, bravo to you. But again, I like what Chris Williams offers as far as stopping the run. So,
But Chris Williams doesn't stop the run. He's one of the worst in the league at stopping the run.
statistically, sure, but he was one of the players we traded for, right? It was the 7th round pick for him and the 6th round for.
That's in the past, dude. This is the
You're
same with
not
Ryan
wrong.
Bates.
You're not
same
wrong.
with Ryan Bates.
I'm just saying for my mentals as far as remembering that player, right? When Chris Williams was asked to play, I remember him doing a fine job.
I remember watching the Detroit Lions game and seeing him miss multiple tackles and screaming at my TV and throwing things and being so pissed off that he was leaving on his team. The way you feel about Zach Pickens is how I feel about Chris Williams. And we saved $3.263 million by cutting him. No dead cap whatsoever.
I'm going to put a little sticky note on my TV, right? Players to watch for, position battles, DT5.
This to me, that's DT5. That's the biggest battle here. I think that's one position undecided right there on that defensive line.
Right, and if you have to give the edge to a player with the bigger asset invested, Zach Pickens would be the guy. But at the end of the day, just the best player should make the roster. We'll see what happens.
All right, Karl, we're going to go back here. Those 75 of you that have stuck around, I'm a little channel. I'm not Windy City Breeze. I'm not Hoax and John. I'm not, who are the big ones? I'm not Chat Sports with Graham Harrison, Chat GPT.
Graham Harris.
Chat GPT is the part you missed on that. That's all he does. Is
Are you cross-referencing, like, have you watched a video of his and then tried to recreate the prompt?
I know for a fact he only uses Chat GPT, and
I'll take it on the chin. Just give me the information and I'll run the smear campaign, right?
No, we're good. I don't want to use my source for that.
July 7th, 2025, Chat Now Sports cross-referenced exact lineup. Use this prompt.
There are channels out there that have built themselves off just sharing the news, and you know what? Props to them. I do like that we have lots of resources on Bears media. I like that fans have a lot to go look at, and you know what? If you have the time, it is what it is. But I do have some insider stuff, and Karl, I've shared with you who that is, so do not share my insider stuff. But I have some insider stuff for those that have stuck around. The 75 of you that have stuck around, let's talk about the running backs now, Karl, because I'm ready to spill a few beans.
Okay, I mean,
Ready?
It is what it is. You're talking about Manungai being, he's not just a 7th-round pick. He's valued at a 5th-round pick.
4th.
Whatever.
Okay.
This guy is
Let's talk about the draft. What happened in the draft? Because I'm ready to spill some beans. Guys, this is insider information.
I was closer.
Nobody else has heard this, knows this stuff. This is fun for me. And you don't share all this on Twitter because then people just scrutinize you. But did the Bears try to trade up for Ashton Genty?
I don't think so.
Did. Yes,
they did.
They did. But here was the exact mindset from those within Hallis Hall. They were not willing to leverage the future, and specifically were not willing to give away a day 1 or day 2 pick from this year or next year. They were not willing to do that. That was the boundary line. They were willing to trade day 3 pick to be able to come up and get Ashton Genty. And obviously that was a quick no from the Raiders. The Raiders were not having it, or whoever they went. I don't know who they were trying to trade with. I don't know that part, but I know they tried to trade up for Ashton Genty. They weren't willing to give away a round 1 or round 2 or round 3 pick this year or next year. They weren't willing, which means, and this is also from the horse's mouth, they are higher on DeAndre Swift than the fan base believes that they are. Ben Johnson and this offense, Eric Bieniemy specifically, believe in DeAndre Swift, and I know you don't like that.
Yeah,
news,
music
Karl.
to my ears, right?
Now, here's the fun one, because we saw stuff come out. Was it ours or was it somebody else's about the Bears trying to trade up one spot in the second round?
It was the New England Patriots.
This is insider stuff. You ready?
Sure.
The Bears were not trying to trade up for Travion Henderson.
They were trying to trade up for Luther Burden?
They were trying to trade up one spot to make sure the Patriots didn't take Luther Burden.
That's asinine.
It's what it is, man. It's the truth. They were not trying to trade up for Travion Henderson. They were only willing to give up a 7th rounder because they were trying to move up one spot, and they knew that the Patriots wanted a running back, but they wanted to secure Luther Burden for themselves. They wanted Luther Burden the whole time.
And it's very smart for the Bears to think that, because the Patriots probably should have drafted Luther Burden with that room. They got a little bit lucky. I know that the wide receiver they ended up with is fine. And hell, the first 2 picks the Patriots drafted in this draft were offensive linemen, essentially, right? Travion Henderson, great at pass pro. So, I don't know, man. I was pretty close without any insider information, right? You laughed at me. I said, what are the odds of 5 running backs being drafted before pick 39? You said 0. Didn't happen. Before were. I don't think anyone predicted that either.
So this is fun, guys. I've been waiting to share this information. I actually shared some of this with Karl on draft night. Like, this has been stuff I've been holding in my pocket and dying to share. I wish there was a bigger audience, but here we are. All right. We get down in the 4th round. The Bears tried to trade up for none other than, guess who, in the 4th round?
Little scat pack.
Cameron Scatterboo! I knew beforehand the Bears were high on Scatterboo for a specific reason. But they were not finding any buyers. Top of the 4th round is hard to come up into. You're on the beginning of a new day. And the Bears did not see the Giants high on Scatterboo, and the Giants snuck in before the Bears could get him. This is why the Bears traded out of their 4th round pick. They wanted Scatterboo. They didn't get him. They traded back and
But
acquired more.
to corroborate that story, they acquired an early 4th round pick in one of these trades.
Mm-hmm.
So
Trading
it
down their
makes perfect
2nd round
sense.
pick, getting 2 others, getting 4th
Right,
rounder.
that's why I like that trade, right? You trade down, you still end up with 2 seconds and essentially a high 4th. Smart. I like that trade.
So here we fall into the 7th round. The Bears considered, this is insider info, the Bears considered taking Kyle Monangai in the 5th round. They ended up seeing the needs on their board and where they have intel of what other teams were seeing on players, and they decided to hold off and wait. And then they had Zay Frazier, and Luke Newman fall into their laps, and they felt like they had to take them first because running back wasn't their highest priority. But they had Kyle Monangai as a top 10 running back in this class. Now, where was he drafted? I haven't even looked that up. Which running back was he taken in this class?
I think I have a screenshot of that on my phone somewhere.
And
But,
they had him as a 4th round grade, from what I'm being told.
Again, I mean, we'll see the proof in the pudding, right? I mean, there are some of these drills that I'm
You
seeing
hate
with
this.
Monangai. Doesn't look the best. We're talking about a 7th round running back.
I don't think
care
he's
that
your
he
day
fell.
one impact guy. He's not
Okay.
going to be your Travion Henderson, but that's not what the Bears were looking for.
Here's
They
the
wanted
list.
someone to complement.
Here are the list of running backs that were drafted before Kyle Monangai.
Okay.
Genty, Hampton, Judkins, Henderson, the great R.J. Harvey, who was drafted before Caleb Johnson, Bashal Tutin, Cam Scatpack, Etienne, Woody Marks, Jaquez Hunter.
Oh,
Rams took him.
You skipped over Caleb Johnson, though. You said before Caleb Johnson, but I missed
Yeah,
it. Okay.
yeah. So, sorry, R.J. Harvey and then Caleb Johnson, of course.
Okay.
Hunter, Dylan Sampson, Jordan James, the great Jaden Blue, DJ Giddens, the king Ollie Gordon, Devin Neal, Michigan's finest Khalil Mullings, Taj Brooks, Damian Martinez, and someone who I wanted the Bears to draft, Rashad Smith. All before Kyle Monangai.
So 21 before. And the Bears had him as a top 10 running back in this class. They got a steal in the 7th round. Just because it says 7th rounder now doesn't mean we need to be pissed off about it. They weren't looking for a day one impact starter. They felt like DeAndre Swift was underutilized, was not used properly. They liked DeAndre Swift. They had Travis Homer, who they like more than I do. I don't understand it. Roschon Johnson, and they've even brought Ian Wheeler's name up. But when you see him in camp, I just don't think he's come back from that injury ready yet. I don't know if we'll keep him or put him on the practice squad.
I have a really bad feeling about Ian Wheeler.
That he's going to get stolen by somebody?
No, that just quite simply the knee injury and the momentum that he had going into last season. I think that momentum is grinded to a halt, and it's going to be way too hard for him to overcome this at this point. But if he proves us wrong, that'd be great because we need it.
The nice thing is we don't
need a starting running back.
We don't have to depend on him. Well, I see him more as a return guy, but now our return guy is Devin Duvernay and Josh Blackwell. I mean, there's a couple options actually.
I'm kind of quietly ecstatic for Duvernay. That's why I feel like the Bears will go with 5 wide receivers and he will beat out of Tyler Scott because he's got borderline elite return ability, at least on paper. So,
well, you're just going to switch to wide receivers now. We're still on running backs, and this is my biggest thing to share. I've been super excited to share this information for a long time. I've been teasing Karl with it. I know it's not like blow your socks off stuff, but it's cool to know, like 1920 football drive stuff, like to know the background of that stuff. The Bears were high on Monangai, and they knew the rest of the league wasn't as high as them, so they held off, and they took Zay Frazier, and they took Luke Newman, and they still got a steal.
Trust me, it is no surprise that the Bears were high on Kyle Monangai, especially when Brad Biggs is tweeting out Kyle Monangai's name before they pick him. So there were no secrets with Kyle Monangai. I will rest easy knowing that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have the role maybe fans wanted a running back to have this year. They wanted Ashton Genty to take 300 snaps, but that's not this offense. Like, this offense is built around Caleb, and it's sprinkled in with a little DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, Kyle Monangai. I mean, that's what this offense is. This offense isn't meant to be run heavy. It's not meant to be the Raiders where you have Geno Smith as your quarterback. We got a generational quarterback. You have to let him grip it, rip it, go for 4,500, 5,000 yards. You got to let him try to be Jared Goff.
I know, and it's going to suck because Jared Goff probably is going to end up having a better offensive line what the Bears will have in 2025. 2024 Goff versus 2025 Bears, right? Lions better offensive line. Lions 2 better running backs. So the honest approach of the defense, knowing that they have 2 fantastic running backs, the Bears don't even have 1. Then half the games they played indoors. Half those games get subtracted from the Lions Dome to Soldier Field. So your throwing game is going to have the added element of the elements, windy Soldier Field, all these things. It's going to be an uphill battle. We'll see what happens.
I wish I could pull PFF right now. Caleb Williams per rush attempt, I think, led the league for quarterbacks. I gotta double check that one.
Caleb Williams running like his own personal rush attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, night and day difference compared to Goff. Absolutely, Caleb Williams is a much better runner of the football.
So you have that flexibility too. We don't want to use him like we did Justin Fields, but he is a dynamic player who can see the field well. And if it's called upon and there's a situation where it breaks down, he can get you those 7 yards, 10 yards, slide for it, not take the hits, do what he needs to do. He did it several times last year. I mean, how many rushing yards did he have? I don't remember. 300, 400?
Whatever it was, it equated to him having extremely good stats, the most total yardage of a Bears rookie quarterback ever. But not rookie quarterback. As a rookie, he acquired the record for total yards from a quarterback. Period.
John S. says 350 yards. And on how many attempts was that? I mean, he per rushing attempt, I think he led the league. And that might have been leading into like week 15 or 16. So maybe I'm behind on not the full season. But you've got an added dynamic there with Caleb Williams. We don't have to depend on the run, though. And so what you said about Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, you do realize that they both did better because of Ben Johnson, right?
Oh, absolutely. But in the same token, that brain trust equated to Jahmyr Gibbs, in my mind, becoming the second best running back in the NFL.
Okay.
Will he be that good in 2025 without him? Maybe.
And will he have the same effect on DeAndre Swift?
I don't know about that because we've already seen what Ben Johnson did with DeAndre Swift. We've seen
a long time ago, not as a head coach, as a coordinator, and in the early years of his coordinating. I mean, it wasn't like this was Ben Johnson
know
we
what?
have now.
I think history repeats itself. I think we will squeeze the lemon on DeAndre Swift in 2025, and we will either cut him or trade him again, just like Ben Johnson has done previously, and we will draft a running back higher than you want, just like the Lions did with Gibbs.
Oh, I can see us.
Why did we reach for Jeremiah Love out of what's it called, Notre Dame, or the kid from Penn State? Why did we reach for that player? Then maybe in 2026,
No, but
we'll have
this
the
is
elite offense.
This is where I say a running back is adequate. Is at the end of the first round, like 25 through 31. That's fine. That's
Well,
fine.
if
to take
I'm
a running
predicting the
back there.
Bears to go 7-10, and we're looking at another top 10 pick,
Karl, this team is not built for 7 and 10. The prediction video
financially, we absolutely are not.
is spot on.
But logically,
But they got to prove it, right? Not logically. You've got a top 10 offensive line. You've got a top receiving core. You got the weapons other than running back.
spearheaded by a rookie head coach with a young quarterback and young weapons.
So, are you? What's the right word? It's not homering. Are you pessimisming 7 and 10, or do you genuinely believe the Bears won't win more than 7?
I'm definitely on the pessimistic side of the spectrum here. Absolutely.
What do you think the ceiling is then for this team? I want to know what your ceiling is.
A wild card, 10 wins.
You don't think they can win the division? With rookie J.J. McCarthy, with the Packers being the frauds
that's
that
the
they
question,
are, the
right?
Lions
Like
declining.
let's say J.J. McCarthy is just average. Hell, I'll say let's say J.J. McCarthy is the 20th best quarterback in the NFL, and doesn't necessarily get in the way of the Vikings. I see the Vikings winning the division. They've just invested too much, and I think too highly of their head coach. The Packers, who I hate, with their shitty, overpaid quarterback.
All right, those who are subscribe members, give me the puke emoji, the FGBs, the Jordan Love with the poop head, the peeing bear. Like, give me all those in the comments. Like, let those roll. Go ahead, Karl.
Again, the Packers, terrible quarterback, even worse schedule. They have a very easy schedule. I think their schedule alone will propel them into a 10-win season.
Easier than ours. It's not easy. They're still facing the AFC
I don't know about
North
that.
like we are.
No, just because of the positioning, something happened.
Yeah, but they're still facing the AFC North like we are. They're still facing the Bengals and the Steelers and the Browns and the Ravens. They're still facing those same 4 teams we are. They're just not facing the same non-common schedule that we are.
Okay, so in no particular order, I'm not looking at this properly. I want to see their actual schedule reveal here. Top to bottom. Oh my god, there's so many ads. Why am I being bombarded? Let me take this over here. So, week 1, Jets, followed by Colts, Seahawks, Lions, Redskins, Browns, Cowboys, Bengals, Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, Eagles, Giants, Vikings, Lions. Of course, the Bears, then the Broncos, followed by the Bears yet again, the Ravens, and the Vikings. Honestly, a lot harder of an end to the season than I remember.
Yeah, they've got a brutal ending.
But talk about some terrible teams to start the year. God, Jets, Colts, Seahawks. Packers are already 3-0. I'm sorry, that's the preseason. That was the preseason.
As opposed to the Cowboys, Raiders, Saints.
They've got the Cowboys in week
Giants.
4.
How about Raiders, Giants, Saints? We're facing the Saints, who are unanimously predicted to be the worst team in the league this year.
Without a shadow of a doubt, right? You're going to win that game. I've got no fear of the Saints at all, right? We could even be seeing Tyler Shuck by them. Like it's going to be.
I think you will.
That would be a disaster if the Bears lost at home to the Saints. But again, I think you beat the Vikings. I think that young J.J. McCarthy is just not there yet. The Lions, that is a very interesting game. I project a loss because the Lions will be too young, and those fans won't realize how bad of a team they have yet. Those fans are going to be so loud. To talk about a hostile environment. Ben Johnson, fresh off of jumping the ship, as some Lions will say, from a
Both
Super Bowl.
teams are going to have something fun to play for on that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a bloodbath. It could be at least. But again, I just don't think the Bears are there yet, and I think that the Lions won't realize how bad they are yet. The Cowboys. Talk about Eberflus' revenge game. I think that's where he takes everything out of the kitchen sink and throws it at this Bears offense. And I don't project a blowout on either side, but I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about that Cowboy game.
You've got pessimism running through your veins. Here,
Absolutely. And then
Are
we
we gonna
already
lose-
talked about the
buddy.
Raiders.
Lose the Raiders too?
I said 2025, the peak of Ashton Genty's career against what I'm projecting is a bad run defense.
Ashton Genty can't hit a hole. If he can't hit a hole, what's he going to do in the NFL?
What are you talking about?
He had to have Mack truck-sized lanes in college. He played the Mountain West freaking conference. They've already
We
changed
might
it.
have to do a live stream together in week 4, man. Like,
We're
that's going to be the rubber match.
Aren't you coming here to the game?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I told you
We're
I
gonna-
was.
we're gonna
If
be
I'm not there, that'd look
live.
really awkward.
It's they've already changed Ashton Genty's stance in the NFL. Like,
And who cares? Twitter
not-
cares about it cosmetically, but I think that silly guy from Ohio State's right.
he's not NFL ready. Ashton Genty's overhyped.
That's going to be
Agreed.
where the rubber meets the road. What's the bet on this one, right? Oh, my God. A rare appearance from Nick. Holy smokes. My
Is that Nick Savage Smiley?
my long lost co-host. Oh, my God.
Win now
Welcome
mode
in, Nick.
every year with Ben Johnson. I agree with Nick. What do you have to say, Karl?
I've already, we're an hour and a half in, Nick. You got to go back.
I-
12-5.
I agree with this though. I'm getting into my prediction video later. That's not today, but Karl. All right, you transitioned us, and I wasn't ready yet from running back to wide receiver. I was very excited to share my running back news. Let's get out of here. Oops, not that one. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Image file. Let's go to our wide receivers. All right, here's our wide receiver room. I know you're very, very, very high on Luther Burden. Talk to me about why you picked the 5 you did, why you don't think we'll take a 6th wide receiver. I think it was partially because you saw that the Lions only had 4 to start 1 year. Doesn't make much sense to only carry 4. 5 is acceptable. I see us maybe carrying 6, buddy.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, 5 is light, and I think that I feel like the Lions have always had just a poor group, right? Like, they were signing guys like Allen Robinson off of practice squads and things like this. So, a lot more talent. Maybe you keep it. But for me, the Tyler Scott experiment has expired. I think Tyler Scott is past his shelf life. He's donezo.
Wait, but he had a
podcast
huge
with.
He had a huge catch yesterday in practice, or 2 days ago. Like, it was big. Like, it was across the middle. Caleb threw it perfectly right into his breadbasket. It was beautiful, and he caught it. Tyler Scott's back.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why Luther Burden was drafted so highly is because you needed someone to take the top off. I think Luther Burden's fantastic at that. Romo Dunze, too. You'd like Tyler Scott to fulfill his prophecy of the long, deep ball guy that Ryan Poles talked about, how Tyler Scott has the unique ability to speed up while the ball is in the air, right? You probably need a guy like that. But again, I just think the experiment's over with.
What happened with him, man? What happened with him? Because
We should ask Adam Rank. He does a podcast with him monthly, right? Or weekly, whatever it is. Let's ask Adam Rank.
I don't think they do anymore, though. I don't think they do it anymore. I think they stopped doing it. Even Adam Rank saw the end coming for Tyler Scott.
Jesus, unbelievable. Talk about a smear campaign. Tyler Scott, I love you, man. You're a good player when you're on your game, but in the general consensus, you haven't produced for us, man. So
I don't think they're planning on playing Luther Burden until they come back in July, the month before the ramp up.
Yeah.
I think that soft tissue,
just leave it alone.
they were leaving it alone, and for the next month, let him make sure he's really healthy before you really stretch it. Don't overdo it. Tyler Scott seems like the guy that would do well in practice, but when it came to the games, it was almost like he was scared. Does that seem fair? Like, it's not an expert analysis, but it almost seems like he was scared to play in the NFL. Like, he wasn't ready for the bright lights.
To be fair to Tyler Scott, too, I don't know if it's like a mental midget undersized thing. He definitely came in my opinion, undersized. I know that there's guys like Smitty, the backup or second wide receiver for the Eagles. I can't think of his name right now. The guy who had a fantastic catch in the Super Bowl. Like, you can have an undersized body in the NFL at wide receiver nowadays, but I don't know.
Devontae Smith's not undersized, is he?
I thought he was a tiny little pipsqueak. He's like
Wow,
Slenderman.
Let me look up his size. Devontae.
I legitimately thought he came out of college at like 150, just like the total smallest guy in the world.
Oh, he is smaller. He's 6 foot, but he's 170.
Yeah, just absolutely puny. So
You're right. He is smaller than I thought. I thought he was like
he's
180,
fast and
185.
he's twitchy and he understands route concepts. So he's a great player. Clearly not at the level, at the low level that Tyler Scott is, but
I don't think we differentiate too much on the wide receiver room. I'm glad we got Olamide Zaccheaus. Solid addition.
what?
I accidentally muted myself when I was moving my mic. 500 yards a year for him consistently. I doubt he'll get that on this roster, but if Caleb Williams is throwing for Jared Goff yards, 4,000, 4,500 yards, it's absolutely possible. Devin Duvernay, I think, is a great addition, especially for special teams. I think he's still got juice left in the tank. Another Devin is just like prophecy coming to fruition.
Let's not get to that. I don't even want to make that comparison because at the end of the day, Devin
All I'm
Hester,
saying is we're putting another Devin back there, and it makes sense to put a Devin back there. I'm not saying he's as good as Devin Hester. Nobody ever will be. But putting a Devin back there that has return ability Devin Duvernay does, it makes sense. Let's do
if
it.
you can get 50% of Hester, I'll be happy.
Sure,
With
me
Devin
too.
Duvernay.
Heck, if we can get out to the 30 or 40-yard line every time, if we can get to that, if we get to midfield a couple times and start from the 50-yard line, how fantastic is that? I don't need everyone return for a touchdown. I'd like one or two. I don't remember the last time we saw a kickoff return for a touchdown. Obviously, we saw a punt return on week
Cordero
18.
Patterson, maybe. Yeah.
It's a while ago. I'd have to look it up the last time we had a kick return for a
Yeah,
touchdown.
the
But
mid to late teens. Yep.
how fun was that seeing our boy, Josh Blackwell? You know who has the in with Josh Blackwell? Is Nick Rohde from Just Another Year. He's like best friends with him, dude. I'm not even kidding. I don't think I'm supposed to say that. I don't know if I was
Hey,
supposed
Adam,
to say
I
that.
gotta
actually.
go. I'm gonna be talking to some guy named Nick Rohde.
I think,
I
I think he's coming on Nick's show like next week. So,
Oh
little
my
plug for Rohde.
gosh.
Yeah,
This is unbelievable stuff.
they're actually boys. They're close.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
All right, we got a question here. We're going back to the defensive ends. Your thoughts on Dominique Robinson being a standout in OTAs? And the reason I'm bringing this up because I'm going to roll it into something else. You see right above where it says OTAs, you see 2 players up there. Personally, hope he is coached correctly and balls out. We kind of already talked about this. We'll hit it one more time. Yeah, we need another guy to step up. We need another defensive end. With that, sorry, I'm not even making you answer it, but it's going to transition into Joe Wilson right there. Also mentioned in that same conversation from Ben Johnson. In fact, let me hurry and pull this up, Karl. I think I have it ready. So let me hurry and just get that one on here.
And I agree. I feel like that's going to be a position battle on special teams, right? Like, are we going to have
Yes.
a
Thank
fourth
you
tight
for
end or
giving
a
me-
Sorry, I was just trying to key it up. Go
fourth
ahead.
tight end or sixth linebacker? Go for it.
Or both. If you're saying we're only taking 5 wide receivers, then you could fit both those guys in there for sure. All right, so
Thank you for giving me a moment there.
I love his cheekiness.
I didn't
In
want to throw
response to
around
Karm,
names
by the way.
for no reason. Yeah, so I'd say
Yeah, the way he handles our media, like I'm sure he handles the players in a more abrasive way. He has to be softer with the media, but it is very like I am who I am. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm giving you the truth, and this is my team, and I own this. Like it's so much fun to watch him, especially compared to Eberflus, whatever you want to call him.
defensively, the two guys I would tell you are Dom Robinson. He even without the pads on, he's done a great job of consistently speed rush up the field or countering back to the inside. He's done a really nice job there, and then of course he's got some special teams value that he takes a lot of pride in as well. And then I thought the player we probably saw the most improvement from when he stepped in to now was Ruben Hippolyte. I thought he's done a nice job learning. He's swimming a little bit, but he's taken it seriously, and Coach Richard Smith's done a fantastic job with him over the course of the last few weeks. On offense, I'd probably single out Joel Wilson. You saw him today with a big catch. He's kind of had 1 or 2 of those almost every OTA. And then in the running back room, Kyle Monangai has really stepped up I appreciate the attention to detail and the pride he takes and how quickly he's picking things up as well. So that's 4 good names for you.
So I don't take any of that lightly. Those are shining endorsements from your head coach. I think every one of those guys has an opportunity. And when you look back here, Joe Wilson sitting there. Look, he took Colston Loveland at number 10 overall, ahead of Kenneth Grant, ahead of defensive ends, ahead of many players we could have taken to fix the defense. If he's pointing out Joe Wilson as having a phenomenal catch in that practice and a couple every practice, he sticks out to him. I don't know if he wants to let him go. He might be this year's tight end 4. He might even upend Durham Smythe. Durham Smythe is not a lock for this roster just because we signed him to a low-level contract as a tight end 3. You get into camp for these reasons, and Joe Wilson could upend Durham Smythe.
Yeah, I just don't have that feeling that Smythe is a guy that could get upended. I wouldn't be surprised by anything at this point, but I think it's more plausible to keep Smythe and Joel Wilson than Joel Wilson beating out Smythe.
Okay, let's say it comes down to only 3 tight ends on the roster. You think with the shining endorsement he just gave, and Joe Wilson's blocking is not scrub, it's okay. It's not. Durham Smythe is known for his blocking. That's all he's known for.
That's my exact thoughts here. Yep.
He's replacing Mercedes Lewis. Okay. Joe Wilson isn't crappy at blocking. So you've got the receiving ability of Joe Wilson that your head coach is shiningly endorsed. If it comes down to one of those two, I think that's your next camp battle right there. And I think Joe Wilson right now, if it were to happen today, would beat out Durham Smythe. What's the dead cap on Durham Smythe? It's a low contract, and it's like very, very little dead cap. Like not much at all. I'm going to try to pull it up, find it right now. Let's see here.
Don't even know how to spell the guy's name.
I don't have it ready. $2.5 million is his contract.
It would appear
dead cap is 1.5. So we'd lose 1.5 and we would save 1 million.
Just don't really it doesn't make much sense to me if I'm being honest. I don't know. Again, I think it's more plausible that you keep both than have to decide on one. And unfortunately, we got to talk about it. Is Loveland going to be ready to go by week 1? I think he will be, but it's something right now. He's not full tilt, even on lifting weights. So maybe you have to take 4 tight ends because you can't have Loveland have the impact immediately that you'd want him to.
Well, you might take 4 tight ends anyways for special teams ability and for
exactly
new coaches off. If we're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, you might see more options anyway. You're not going to see Durham Smythe out there running a ton of routes. You're just not. You can see Joe Wilson come in and start the season off and get more touches than normal as they work Colston Loveland back into it. I don't know how much Colston Loveland will see in preseason games. He'll still be working back from the injury.
That's exactly what I'm saying, right? So again, you're talking about having a dynamic 2 tight end offense. If that's truly what you want, you can't start with that. So I just don't know. It's weird, man. A lot of little question marks here and there. I will say we talked about the drafting of a tight end and how paramount it was. Looking at this, I'm very happy that we have Loveland in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
Not who we passed on, not who we weren't able to draft before. It don't matter. Just the player itself, right? Loveland on the Bears. To me, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I still, and we can't change it, so I hate to go back and do this constantly. We did it at the beginning of the show, but I still would have rather take Kenny Grant at 10 and take Terrence Ferguson with one of those second-round picks later instead of, where we picked Shamar Turner, take Terrence Ferguson instead right there. I don't know. That's what...
No, you're spot on. Whether it was the guy that the Jets drafted, Taylor, right? Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor's son, whatever it is. You could have got that guy at 39 and had Kenneth Grant. Would I be happier with that? Possibly. Depends on how good Loveland is, if we're being honest. I know how I feel about Kenneth Grant, and I feel like he would have been a much better player to have on this 2025 roster.
All right, so... we're almost done with wide receivers. We got a couple more to hit, but on wide receivers here, I do think it's interesting. We brought in Maurice Alexander from the Lions. We brought in Miles Boykin, try to revitalize his career, big size.
Now,
the other ones I'm not as high on the bottom line, but there's a couple guys.
Boykin, I thought Boykin was a guy who had special teams return ability.
I don't know if Boykin. I don't have PFF available right now. But
I feel like Boykin was a guy who had some return ability, so I feel like that's a soft battle with Duvernay. But again, I expect Duvernay to win that outright, and Boykin's going to be hitting back to the streets. But I think that I heard Antoine Randall have a good reflection on Boykin and say that he liked him. So,
Well, you know,
whatever
Boykin's another one that Ryan Poles loves his Chicago natives, and Boykin, I know he went to Notre Dame, but I think he was from Illinois too. Let me look. Yeah, right here, Tinley Park, Illinois. He's from Illinois. 6'4", 222 pounds, though, man. So another guy.
That's where that body in a vacuum sounds perfect for the new kickoff rules. So
that'd be. I don't know if he has much return history, though. I don't know. If
I could be flat out wrong, and I'll take that right on the chin. But I always associated a Miles Boykin with a guy who had good return ability.
And he might. They thought about Rome last year. I always thought that was funny. Yeah, he to me is your Rome 2.0. He's the guy to be your other X receiver. So Boykin, I can see us keeping 6 wide receivers. I don't see Tyler Scott in the mix any way you slice it.
Yeah, we're in lockstep there. If they take 6 at this point, again, nothing surprises me. I can promise you that if John Jackson makes the 53, there's something nefarious going on. Toure.
I think John
Richardson.
Jackson makes the practice squad again, and it's purely like your service animal to Caleb. It's his best friend hanging out with him on the team. That's what it is.
Yeah, and there's really no problems with that from my point of view.
On the practice squad, I don't have a problem with that. On the 53-man roster, I do.
Skeletor, looks like you've got to go. Thank you for spending so much of your time with us, Skeletor. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate that, Skeletor. Thank you. All right, let's get into, we got a couple more. This is the one I want to jump to for people's interest. This is interesting to me, this one right here. So much to talk about, Karl. How we doing? We hanging good for another 20 minutes? We got this?
Oh, I got oodles of time, man. We're good as far as that goes. I am not good with you suggesting that Jonathan Kim will beat out Cairo Santos.
I'm not suggesting that one. But that
it's
is
just,
the buzz,
it's
right?
asinine, right?
He's consistently hitting 60-yarders in practice, Karl. Why wouldn't we take that
Okay,
over?
are you going to
Cairo
be consistently hitting 60-yarders in leverage situations at the windy Soldier Field in the wet, rain, sleet?
I agree.
Whatever you want to say it is, right? I don't care if it was a similar condition at Michigan State. Why do we need to rely on a 60, 65-yard field goal when we have an improved offense?
But I do think, well, when you can't go for that field goal at the end of games and then you have a head coach that mismanages it, it does become important. I do think we're going to see something you'd never see. How often do you see a kicker on a practice squad? A place kicker? Not very often.
Let's not play this game.
We don't. You don't see a place kicker.
I
on
just
the
talked to
practice squad.
someone from the CNG podcast, Alan. He was the first one who I ever heard say this. You could protect him for 6 games, right? Isn't that how the practice squad operates? You can protect a player for up to 6 games?
I think it's 4. I think it's the first 4 games of the season.
What are we talking about here? The dead cap on Cairo Santos is $5.25 million, right?
No, it's not. Not all this year.
Thought it was $5 million if you cut him.
I'm going to pull it up right
Dead
now.
cap.
Cairo Santos.
Almost just spill my water. I don't know. It's just it's so silly to me. Now, I do applaud them for bringing in a body. Don't just hand the position to a kicker who had a kick blocked and there was a little something or other there. The fact of the matter is, the current special teams coordinator that you retained through a coaching regime change fixed the kicker, and he helped you beat your biggest rival at their house.
I don't think anybody but Cairo Santos is taking snaps for the Bears this year. I do think we could keep Jonathan Kim on the practice squad, which we never do, depending on how. I think he'll get some kicks in preseason. I think he'll get some opportunities to kick some deep bombs, and we see how he does with a 60-yarder, with a 62-yarder. And if he
Honestly,
let's say we go into the preseason and we those 3 games, he gets a 60-yarder in each one of the games, and he nails a 62, a 64, and a 60-yarder. What do you do?
then that's when you have a problem.
what I'm
Obviously,
saying.
outside of the social media mongrels and all these media pundits who are attacking the quarterback, they will slaughter the kicker. Oh, you missed a kick. Let's bring in Kim. Well, the real problem is if you display how good that Kim could potentially be, then he's going to get poached.
Cairo Santos might be cut at that point, dude. Cairo Santos can't hit past 55 yards. He barely hits 55 sometimes. He's comfortable from 45 to 50.
Comfortable? He's automatic.
That's what he's okay. He's automatic. I should use the word automatic. He is he's locked down. He's as good as they get.
Yeah,
in
he's
Soldier
97. I don't have these stats, but let's just call it 95% from within 50. Which, with an improved offense, you'd say that is exactly what you want. That's the perfect complement to the offense, right? You can't break through because DeAndre Swift is allergic to running between the tackles. Your quarterback is not able to run because the defense doesn't respect your running game. Get close enough and get your 45-yard field goal. That is what it is.
But how many times do we get to the 45-yard line and get stalled right there? Say you take the 45-yard line, it's 45, that's a 62-yard field goal. You don't trust Cairo Santos to make that field goal. Ever. Cairo Santos will never be trusted past 55 yards, period.
Especially in any sort of inclement weather. I hear the discussion, but I just think it's something that isn't as big of an issue as everyone wants to make it out to be.
I agree with you. I think Cairo Santos will be the kicker in 2025. I just think it's worth talking about, too. The bigger thing for me, nobody's talking about this. I brought it up twice. Have you heard anybody else talking about this? Luke Elkin was the long snapper for Torrey Taylor at Iowa, and no one's talking about this.
Let's capstone that discussion right now. Who did the Patriots take at Mr. Irrelevant and snake from us that we really wanted? I thought that was Luke Elkin. I'm very confused as to who that was, but I'm certain that whatever player the Patriots selected at the Mr. Irrelevant pick was the player that the Bears coveted.
Who was Mr. Irrelevant 2025? I have no idea, dude. Yeah, dude. Let's have Nick come on here. How do we send him a...
Oh, are you serious? I didn't want to ask you live. Darn it. Nick.
Is he gone already?
Can you hear us? No, he's probably gone. I'll call him on Snap.
I just saw your private chat.
Yeah.
Kobe Minor was Mr. Irrelevant for the Patriots? I don't know who Kobe Minor is, dude. Defensive back Kobe Minor. That's who they took, dude. I think you're off base here.
No. Julian Ashby. So maybe it wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. I can't remember. But Julian Ashby apparently was a player that the Bears were interested. I'm certain of that.
I don't know how interested they were. Maybe you're just hearing rumors on that.
Not in drafting him. They were not interested in drafting Julian Ashby. They were interested.
Oh, they brought him in for a top 30 visit. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah,
I'm not sure.
We brought a long snapper in for a top 30 visit. That's what you're. That's
I
what
can
you're
promise you
which
that
is
they
not
were
normal.
interested in Ashby. They wanted to get him on UDFA.
Yeah, you're bringing a UDFA long snapper in on a top 30 visit because you're trying to establish with him, hey, look at Hallis Hall. We like you. We don't think you're going to get drafted. Hey, we want to sign you right after the draft. You're establishing that with him. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened. I'm pretty sure.
Can I invite Nick, or do you have to?
I can give him the same link that
see if
you
it
gave
works.
me.
See if it works. All right, so, but I want to hit on that, Karl. I think Scott Daly is all but gone. I think he's a goner. I think Luke Elkin, having the repertoire with, or whatever you call it, the rapport, whatever the right word is, I'm mixing my words, but Torrey Taylor, having 3 years of experience with Luke Elkin in college, Luke Elkin now coming of age to come to the draft and get signed by the Bears. It's cheaper. Scott Daly was cut by the Lions and only picked up by the Bears because we had to have a long snapper. Luke Elkin, cheaper, and he's worked with Torrey Taylor. I just see that as a natural one that's going to happen. I just see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, you drafted the punter just like you're doing service for Caleb Williams. Have your guy come in. If you're going to get the most out of your draft pick, Torrey Taylor, by all means. I don't care who the long snapper is. Totally fine by me.
Looks like Nick won't be able to come on. That's fine.
Yeah, Nick,
right.
We'll figure that out. I'd like to get Nick's prediction out into the open. Normally we do that with BCP, and this time he was replaced by J2K. So that was what comprised the BCP, I guess, channels, prediction. But I'd love to have Nick's out in the open, and we'll figure out whatever else Nick's. So Nick's a busy guy.
Couple more to roll through here. Linebackers, nickelback. Lots of hype around Ruben Hippolyte, too. Hip hop anonymous.
Yeah. Another one where if the fans are always right on all the things, immediately, my source for all this stuff, outside of yourself, Adam, Dane Brugler. If Dane Brugler's not saying a darn thing about Ruben Hippolyte, why are we drafting him in the 4th round? Just because he's fast? Kind of embarrassing. But at the end of the day, if he's the right pick and a good player, that's all I care about. Can I see a situation where in 2026 TJ Edwards replaces Tremaine Edmonds and Hippolyte replaces Edwards to be that will. Very possible. I think it's very possible.
What did they say specifically about Ruben Hippolyte when he was interviewed? When they talked about him, they talked about how they want him to hit the holes. They didn't feel like the linebackers did a good enough job last year containing the run. Ruben Hippolyte's quick and he hits hard.
Let me just talk about what I know as close to home as possible, right? And again, no disrespect to J2K, Shorty, a literal coach in PJ, all boys from the BCP, Bears Country production side of things, right? They were saying that against... They literally did the All-22 last year. That's what they were saying in the moment. So I'm certain that these linebackers didn't play up to scruff as far as stopping the run last year.
So why did they draft Ruben Hippolyte? It was that one specific reason. They want him to be quick, to hit the hole, to stop the run.
Yeah.
So,
and honestly, the guy is impressive. I mean, I put out another piece of bait on Twitter. I said Hippolyte will either be the best or the worst linebacker the Bears have had since Roquan Smith. Like, Hippolyte, I think, could be a boomer bust guy. Probably not. But I'm hoping that he's a lot closer to good than bad, especially reflecting on what draft capital we spent on him. Yeah, Dave S. is spot on here.
Yeah, and that's concerning because Edmonds talked about in his interview recently, it was like 2 weeks ago, first round of OTAs, how he has to get better, how he has to be more of a vocal leader, how he has to be more of an example on the field. He just flat out didn't do it last year. I think nobody was happy with Tremaine Edmonds on this roster last year. It was rough. Like seeing Tremaine Edmonds fail in coverage, fail against the run, he did not live up to that $17 million a year at all.
Now, could we see that exact process I just explained? Could we see that accelerated? Could we see at the start of 2025, TJ Edwards is your green dot Mike linebacker, and Edmonds is your Will, who is a pseudo Lance Briggs?
What if you see Ruben Hippolyte take a bigger role? They've talked so highly of him in the clip we just shared. Ben Johnson spoke highly of those four players. When you get that ringing endorsement at the end of OTAs, at the end of mandatory camp, when you have that ringing endorsement, like Kyle Monangai, Joel Wilson, Ruben Hippolyte, and Dominique Robinson obviously are doing something right. Ruben Hippolyte could be right off the bat having a bigger role than we expect.
I just don't see it. I mean, it's a rock and a hard place situation where you just extended TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards is going to be one of those linebackers that starts on the field.
I got a Creighton Wilfong with this comment. This is awesome. Big Dex, who might I add looks like he ate Zach Pickens and Grady, will mean a lot. Plus, and Big Bill. Oh, that Big Dex, when they're commenting on that in the press conference, I mean, he just looks like a beast, man. He looks like a freaking monster in there. It's going to be fun to see. Edmonds was a quitter. That long run at the end of the first half in the Arizona game was all his lack of effort. Yeah, he looked like he lost some speed. Edmonds is playing for his contract, not just with us. Like, even if we cut him next year, he's not going to get paid big money if he doesn't put up better numbers this year. He's playing for his NFL future right now. We thought he was going to be a top 10 linebacker when we signed him. He was young when he came into the league, and now, I don't know, did he get that mid-career crisis, whatever they call it, where you kind of get lackadaisical in the middle of your career? You got the big contract, and you don't feel like you have to keep improving every year. Now he's got to prove it again. He's no other option because you've got TJ Edwards, who's bona fide, just signed his extension here for a long time. Kyler Gordon, who's in on 67% of snaps. So he's going to be, that's why I put nickelbacks on this page with the linebackers, because you're interchanging there. You got TJ Edwards and Kyler Gordon, and then you got Tremaine Edmonds, Ruben Hippolyte. Man, Noah Sewell never eventuated in anything. I said, what if we tried him out at kind of what they're talking about with Daniel Hardy this year? Hybrid linebacker rusher because of his size.
Well, let's call a spade. Noah Sewell got himself a name in college for being an edge player, not a linebacker. And I don't know if he was forced into linebacker because of necessity at Oregon or whatever it was. The Noah Sewell pick was just a failure. And ironically, I think Noah Sewell was drafted in the 4th round, similar to
Yeah.
Hippolyte. So this is going to be, I don't know, man. Sewell.
Well, you can't say
initially
Noah Sewell and Ruben Hippolyte are the same player. I mean,
Not
there's
at
so
all.
many,
Not at all.
so many
Ruben
players
Hippolyte's an
that have
actual
worked out
linebacker.
from 4th, 5th, even 6th, 7th round linebackers, undrafted free agent linebackers, TJ Edwards, for example, that have worked out. So it's not, you can't say that they're going to be the same type of thing. Noah Sewell definitely so far is a failed experiment, though.
The investment, it just feels like a high 4th round pick at that, I think, unless they traded back, I can't remember. Whatever the case was, a 4th round pick, I don't value that as nothing. I would love Noah Sewell to have actually had an impact for the Bears. He hasn't. I think Ruben Hippolyte needs to have an impact for the Bears.
Noah Sewell wasn't a high one because he was, it was Roshan Johnson was the high one. We traded out of the top of the 4th round and got a second 4th round. We got Roshan Johnson. And then we
also, it was either Roshan Johnson or I think it was Tyler Scott we drafted with Robert Quinn pick. He was also they were also a 4th round pick.
Yeah, but Noah Sewell was a later 4th round pick, but either way.
Yeah.
All right, last one. We're going to wrap this thing up because we've been going 2 hours. I appreciate you sticking around, Karl. But
for sure.
Cornerbacks and safeties, pretty much locked for this year. Those top 8, that's going to be combined with, and I have to explain to people, where's Kyler Gordon? And those two, Kyler Gordon and Josh Blackwell. I put them on this page for that reason I just explained, because 60% of snaps, 67% of snaps are taken in the nickel package over the base package. So your nickel is going to replace Ruben Hippolyte or TJ Edwards or Tremaine Edmonds or someone, depending on how Dennis Allen's reps this thing. It's going to be fun to see what Dennis Allen does with this defense, and maybe he'll put 2 of them in, 6 defensive backs. He's done it before. But then these top 8 on this page, I think, are pretty locked. But you've got 4 safety there that are not under contract next year, so it's going to be, I don't know if there's a camp battle here brewing for Jonathan Owens' spot. I can't see him getting rid of Elijah Hicks after the year he had last year, but could Major Burns or Tyshim Johnson upend Jonathan Owens? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Elijah Hicks literally played for Jaquan Brisker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and he
Elijah
well.
Hicks could be your backup strong safety, and Tyshim Johnson is a little bit more of a smaller, in my opinion, rangier free safety type role. So
the ones at the bottom for 90-man camp, guys, those don't fall under the strong safety, free safety. Elijah Hicks is naturally a free safety, but he filled in for Jaquan Brisker admirably. So I probably should put him under strong safety now.
Yeah.
But Elijah Hicks is a lock for this. He's not getting cut after what he did last year. Jonathan Owens,
spot on.
If one of these guys at camp show up, though, Tyshim Johnson, you hear a lot of good things. Major Burns, Alex Cook came with a lot of good experience from the Panthers. There's a lot of upside to Alex Cook too. We haven't heard anything from camp yet about him, but this is one of those. I'm interested to see one of those final camp battles. Does Jonathan Owens have a shot of losing his job with, Simone Biles being our whatever?
Yeah, that's the problem, is that Jonathan Biles is more of a PR addition than anything. I feel like Jonathan Biles is just yet another Packers sleeper agent. I'm over the Packers sleeper agents. So
you don't even want Joe Wilson.
Correct. Yeah, I forgot about that. I discovered that on Thursday. I forgot about that. Is Richard Colby getting a dig at me? I don't even know what you're talking about. So,
safety
from Michigan.
In Michigan for 8 years or something.
The starting quarterback of Michigan against Illinois last year is 32 years old, so they've got a problem with that, I guess. I don't know. It feels like more of an NCAA problem, though, than a Michigan problem.
Hey, I don't get too political on here, but Simone Biles. No, seriously, Simone Biles might be a reason the Bears might want to. I mean, she's getting in the media right now. She is pushing her agenda, and sometimes teams don't like that when they get too involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. I'll be honest. I have no idea what you're referring to there. But
she's hardcore advocating transgender in sports, like trying to support transgender people. And I'm not getting political, so we're not going to talk about which is right and wrong. But she's like her and what's the other one? Riley Gaines. The two of them are going off against each other. Like they're just sparring like Trump and Elon right now. Like they're.
Oh yeah, 1v1 on Rust, baby. Unbelievable.
Cannot say that Hicks played better than Owens. I absolutely can say Hicks played better than Owens. 100%.
Yep.
100%. So, all right, Karl, I'm dragging this thing out. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. Those who haven't been checking out Bears Country Pod Productions, that's where Karl's been primarily right now. It sounds like maybe Vitality is going to join you on Thy Smi. That's your baby. That's your bread and butter. As we pull this back up, you see the little logo at the bottom there, right below Ben Johnson. That's Karl's logo from his channel over there. Check him out if you haven't seen it. Anything else you want to add here, Karl, before we wrap this sucker up? I appreciate you going over the roster with me and having some fun in this offseason downtime. We kind of told everyone we were done, but then you said, hey, let's go over the post-draft and give our thoughts. And we didn't get into the draft too much. But
some post-draft clarity. John S., I appreciate that. Not much more to say, man. Pretty all-encapsulating. I feel like we've ironed out a lot of things. The kicker shenanigans, our potential poor run defense, our slow start for our offense, leading to maybe a slow start in the win department. We will see. That's all we can do at this point is wait and see.
I'm going to give my prediction video very soon. I'm going to tell you, I have that top line all wins.
Even the bye week?
Wins. Yep. We're even going to win the bye week.
Oh, my God.
Our coach will have an opportunity to assess and recalibrate, and I think he's going to surprise people with his packages his first 4 weeks. J.J. McCarthy, being a rookie, not having the experience, revenge game against the Lions, revenge game against Matt Eberflus, and then the Raiders, they're still the Raiders, and it's Geno Smith, and I just don't see the Raiders being a threat. I think they might be able to stop our offense with their defense a little bit, but only so much when this is such a high-powered offense.
So when did the Bears beat the Packers? It was in 2025, correct? Week 18?
Yeah, Week 18, January, whatever, 4th.
So hear me out. Is there a way that the Bears could beat the Packers 5 times in 2025? We've already got one.
5? How would it be 5? 3 at the most.
We beat the Packers once in 2025.
Okay.
We'll sweep them in the 2025 season. That's 3.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers just signed for the Steelers. He passed that physical, so we could beat the hell out of him and end his career. That'd be a pseudo win against the Packers. There's 4. And then, did you hear that Lil Wayne album? That new one that just came out? The pseudo Packers fan? It's terrible. So the Packers could disassociate from Lil Wayne with how bad that album was as well. 5 wins against the Packers in 2025.
Did you ever see their schedule release video for the Packers too?
No.
That's another loss for the Packers. It's so hard to sit. I challenge you to go watch the Packers schedule release video.
I'm good.
It is abysmal. It is absolutely, it's terrible.
Better or worse?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Better or worse than what?
Their quarterback.
Oh, it's probably right on par with their quarterback. Jordan Love is I have nothing positive to say about Jordan Love.
Jordan Love off his back foot.
It's going to be interesting to see when Jordan Love finally has that downfall and they have to eat that salary cap. It's going to be fun for me. I'm going to revel in it. I'm going to enjoy every freaking second of it.
Law of averages would say you're correct, but in the same breath, if you just go based off their track record, they'll just draft another good quarterback. So
they've got one of the best head coaches in the league, which always makes anybody. I mean, you saw what Malik Willis did last year in the 2 games he got to start. He looked like the best quarterback in the league for those 2 games. So it's always hard to face the Packers. I'm not going to say it's ever going to be a cakewalk, but I feel like we've got we finally entered the big boy league with Ben Johnson. We finally got a head coach to combat the Kevin O'Connells and the Sean McVays and the Matt LaFleur. I like the little inside battle that Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur are having in the media too. Matt LaFleur acting like little brother who can't stand it.
It's a lot better than Matt Eberflus cleaning the shoes and buying the food for Matt LaFleur at a Bulls game or Bucks game, whatever it was.
All right, Ghost Energy Drink. Hit up Karl. He needs your sponsorship.
Yeah, good old Aldo. I've got a soundbite that I play every single day, so fantastic that I have that.
Nice.
Maybe one day it'll happen. Likelihood, unlikely.
Likelihood, unlikely. Appreciate you coming on, buddy. It's good to chat with you again.
There you go.
In the chat, thank you all in the chat over there, I guess.
I've made a lasting impact on the Bear Down Sports Adam Mason channel if Richard Colby is throwing out Rod Moore at me. Michigan digs.
They like you, Karl. I had a couple people tell me I should start a new channel with you. There should be like Hoax and John. Hogs and Johns and stuff. We should do a morning show. Is what multiple people said this to me on Twitter. I'll screenshot it, send it over to you.
A morning show.
They want us to do, and I told them we have 9 to 5 jobs, and they didn't care. They want us to do a morning show where
those people that suggested it could just replace our salaries, and then we're good.
Boom!
Hey,
Who needs Ghost Energy? Who needs Ghost Energy?
No. And Ghost Energy, right? We lateral move 9 to 5 to the Hogan John show, and then Ghost Energy takes us up.
See, look at this. Good idea. People like
Unbelievable.
it.
Do a chat poll. Do a chat poll right now. End it off.
I thought we were ending this thing. I don't have the. I don't have it
stop.
open.
Good old 60-second chat poll.
I don't even have it open. I have to go find. Okay, I'll go to YouTube. YouTube, my channel. Hey, I can go on yours. View your channel. Yours popped up because I'm subscribed to you. So if you're not subscribed to Karl, go freaking subscribe to Karl.
I'll be very honest. I mean, the majority of that subscriber base is from Bear Down Sports, so I could never say thank you enough for that, Adam.
You're worth it. Start a Q&A. All right, how do you want me to word this? Should Adam and Karl
just say do a morning show?
Morning show.
A lottery win would fund it. Guys, start going. Now, here's a conspiracy theory that I just stumbled across, right? I was presented with the idea that the lottery was invented and created and is utilized to find time travelers. I'm voting yes.
I play the lottery with a buddy.
Richard Colby, that's incredible. I subscribed to you and I don't even like you, Karl.
I got the poll up. Did it show up?
Oh my God, it's unanimous right now. It's unanimous. Richard, you have one chance to break the streak. It's at 6 votes. 7.
Oh, wow. I don't know if we could... Guys, I just don't know if we could fit it into the schedule. Like, Karl and I both work 9 to 5 jobs. I don't know if we could do
I'd be
that.
sitting right at the desk. The problem is that Adam Mason is, 2 hours behind me? Is it 3 p.m. for you?
Well, they're saying morning show. It's 3 o'clock right now. So if we did a morning show...
Well, for my schedule would only allow for 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or anything before 8 a.m. I don't even have a 9 to 5. I have an 8 to 5.
We'll talk about this off chat. I don't think this is... That's too much, guys. It's just too much. And then the work you put in... They don't realize... Karl, they don't realize the back-end work that you put into this stuff. Like the producing and the graphics and all the stuff. Like it's not as easy as people think it is.
Oh, and the unanimous vote. We are
that.
not the Lamar Jacksons of YouTube. We will not be the unanimous MVPs. Get up at 4 a.m.
12 votes, and is that 2 no's? We got 2 no's.
No, it's 17%. Oh, weekend morning show. Okay.
Value my weekend, you guys.
Dave said 4 a.m. is nothing. We'll see you there, Dave.
You're probably right. 4 a.m. is nothing. Adam, get up at 4 a.m. I wouldn't have to get up at 4. Karl would. I'd get up at 6.
No, what are you talking about? You're 2 hours before me.
Oh, yeah, I'm backwards, huh? I would have to get up earlier. Screw that. I'm not doing that. All right, fun poll. I think we got another no. See that? 23%. Boom. They don't want a morning
Stop the
show.
count. Stop the count.
I'm stopping right there because there's so many no's. So, cold close. Should we do a cold close again? Is that what we should do?
I don't even know what it is.
Bear Down Sports making Chicago proud.
Shit, fuck me, babe.
And then I'm supposed to stop it by now, and you're always telling me to stop it, so there's not this like awkward stuff afterwards. But I don't, and then it just stops.